Welcome in,
Nice.
everybody. I'm sure we'll have a couple more people stream in as we go, but I just started recording now. So yeah, welcome everyone. I'm really excited for today. Today I'm going to introduce. I'm sure a lot of you already know, but I'm going to introduce you to Ben Cooper, the creator of the amazing piece of software known as Chataigne. Chataigne is a multidisciplinary artist modular toolkit. It's many things to many people, and Ben is the Superman developer who's behind this amazing open source project and software. Ben, welcome. Great to have you here. How are you doing?
I'm doing just fine.
Wonderful,
I'm
wonderful.
great
That's
and
great to
super
hear. So
super
yeah,
happy to be here.
yeah, it's great to have you here. So Chataigne, where do we start with Chataigne? It's such amazing software. It's kind of like it's hard to pinpoint exactly what it is because it can do so many things. Ben, where would you start if you were to describe Chataigne in a few sentences?
Um, Depending, I could say if you don't know why you would use chatting for, don't use it. But that's not a good advertisement. Um, I would I'm when I've been asked it's I'm often comparing it to an orchestra conductor because for
Yep.
me it takes this role, and this is always how I think about it when I'm trying to design new features.
Yeah, yeah, like an orchestra conductor. I think that's a really good description of it. It's software for controlling software, really, and that's not a paradigm that a lot of people like kind of use or come across, but it is incredibly useful when you have that unlock of like, okay, this is software that I can use to control other software. So today, obviously, we're going to have a light focus on using Chataigne in music production and music live production environments, but that's not all it's for. I mean, you can use Chataigne for visual workflows. I know people who've used it with visual and interactivity software such as Touch Designer. People use it for interactive installations and escape rooms. I've heard people use it for scientific purposes. It's kind of sky's the limit, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I definitely didn't end up. I didn't expect so many different uses for that. I really um, mainly I mainly made it with shows and interactive installation in mind.
Yep.
But I've been amazed by some people using it for weird or really side stuff, or yeah, and
Okay.
like medicals as well. I was super happy to hear that recently.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Seen the medical uses, the scientific uses. That's been something super exciting. So, Ben, what's your background? How did you come to be in a situation that you needed something like Chataigne? How what's your story? How did you get there?
Okay. um, so hi, I'm Ben, and I'm really happy to be here. Yeah, thank you, Shamanic, thank you, Tech, for the hostings, and your birdie wherever you are to to welcome me here. Um, I come from cinema, VFX, visual effects, special effects, and orchestra conducting school. So I've done the triple school.
Hmm.
I mean, orchestra conducting and cinema visual effects. And on my own, I was self-taught programming and new technology. So I did that for a certain amount of years. And I think when I started doing more and more interactive installation, I got really into new technology. I was about to go to Pixar, but at some point I just realized, uh, yeah, digital art and independent stuff is way more fun. So I started doing this, and because I can program, I would find myself always redoing the same tools
Mm.
again and again for different projects. Oh, I need to send OSC somewhere. Oh, I need to send MIDI. I need to retrieve this, and it kind of became really annoying. um, I think I think in a way, a lot of people felt like that for a lot of years, and this is why Chataigne meets so much use cases, and it fills a void that was there for a long time. Yeah, and I have been in some project using MaxMSP a lot for doing what Chataigne does now.
Yeah.
And I've been really frustrated by it. And I think from my orchestra conducting background and those painful experiences, it came in my mind that the strategy to have everything in one software is not necessarily the best. And the same way orchestra conductor doesn't play an instrument, he's overseeing everybody, and having the big picture in mind and basically being concentrated in making the whole thing work all together. Um, it's a place that makes that makes sense for me in technology, and every musician will be really good at what they are because they're only focusing on that, and the orchestra conductor would be really good at what he is because he's only focused in that. So you could actually relate that to software, and for a lot of people it was not a nice picture to have a lot of software together, mainly because before it meant that it would be a mess and communication between them would be really messy and painful and potentially breaking stuff and hard to debug. So yeah, I started imagining this software as the center hub for making this structure and easy to imagine, so people would be more incited to choose the best setup for what they want to do. And also me, I first chatting for me was a tool for myself. For 1 year, I used it and I just gave it to the people I work with,
Sure.
and it was basically my own tool that, like a lot of people, are doing their own tools. At some point, some friends told me, "Okay, you have to put that online. Like a lot more people need that, and please put it online. Do something about it." Uh, so I did, and yeah, it started being something. So this was actually 6 years ago,
Wow.
which is really weird to think about that. For me, it was always like the project I started last year, but not anymore. um, and yeah, it's been a real adventure, and so many people came in at different steps along the way and coming from different backgrounds and ask, what about this, what about that? And sometimes I've been really fighting, like I don't want to add video manipulation in chatting because it is not what it is about, or other things. And sometimes people have like strange requests, but that makes me think, oh yeah, that could totally shift into this way of thinking things, and it would actually work globally with the rest of the software. It would make it super powerful. So yeah, it has been really, really interesting, a real journey. I got lost, I think. Yeah, Chataigne. This
Yeah,
is
no. Great,
all of
great
that.
journey, and it's open source as well, isn't it? So I mean, at the moment you are the main developer on Chataigne, but you've had contributions from different community members. There's community modules, so it's an open source project that like some of these features that you've mentioned, for example, that like you've gone, well, I it's not really for that, so I don't want to necessarily put that in there, but a motivated community member could, in theory, go ahead and create a tool like that or create an addition like that into the software.
Yes. Yeah. It is open source, and don't worry, it will stay open source and free to use for life, for my life at least. This won't change. And I've been working. So it's mainly my code. A lot of friends were like, I can see a lot of friends' code and a lot of other things there. Not just code actually, but also like inspirations and help. But yeah, it's mainly my code right now, and More and more people are collaborating. I really welcome and enjoy when people are getting into the code to help and to improve it. Community modules are also a way, for sure. We are, I say we because now there's another person that I can work with on new features that are a bit more complex. And I want to change the scripting engine. So I think we will do that together. So community modules get more powerful and people can do actually more without touching the core code, which can be a bit hard to handle. It's now around 150,000 lines, so of pure C++. So yeah, this is it. And actually, just I want, because I may forget it later, there is also a really great community on Discord right now. And for me, it's as much as collaborating when somebody answers newcomers, or even not newcomers, but when people are active on this Discord, for me, it's really really nice to feel that, because it makes an active community, and I don't feel like people rely on me. And the software can live right now without me, but the community, I want it to be completely autonomous, so I can also leave some time, and the community won't be helpless, basically.
Sure.
And there are a lot of people there helping each other, and I'm really happy about that.
Yeah, I can definitely echo that. It's a super helpful, friendly community over in the Chataigne Discord. I've certainly been very welcome there, and seen some awesome creations and projects, and been helped out in many different ways as well. Okay, so I think it's a good time that we kind of start going into some of the different. I think we're just going to start with some of the different parts and components that make up Chataigne. We're also, I'll bring it up briefly now, but we'll cover it properly later. We're also going to cover LGML a little bit later as well. Do you want to just like really briefly give us an overview of what LGML is?
Yeah, with pleasure. So mainly, people know me or my work mainly from Chataigne because it's a main software and it's really broad. But I've been actually working on several projects with almost the same interface and the same paradigm, but dedicated to different things. As I was saying before, Chataigne is an orchestra conductor, but it needs musicians. And there are a lot of musicians already, Ableton Live and Resolume and ManMapper and like any software in video, audio, sound, motors, whatever, PowerPoint if you want. You can control them. For me, I've always felt that I was missing something in music, and a friend of mine who I work with, Ezra, a beatboxer, asked his company, which I was working in at the time, to develop a light solution for doing live performance. And we didn't want. We were using Ableton Live and Max MSP, and we have created our own looper. And it seemed that it's the adventure of every beatmaker and musicians, live performer that is geeky enough to do that. But basically, we did all of that. It was already in early 2012 to 13, 14. And in 2015 and 16, we started thinking about this and creating from scratch our own looping system that would be actually a DAW, but very, very light, and that could run also on lighter system and like Raspberry Pi and everything. So we could even like have a pedal that was a full DAW with looping system, and we would be free of whatever we want to do with that. So this was the start of LGML, Le Grand Méchant Loop, Le Grand Méchant Loop in French. So I'm French, if you have not heard yet. Chataigne is also a French word, which means chestnut, and Le Grand Méchant Loop would mean the big bad loop, or the big bad wolf, but wolf in French is the same as loop. So
yeah.
French pun. This is how I live my life. And this is LGML. So you can see that it's really hard to distinguish the two of them when you're not used to it. But yeah, this is a node-based system that I will show you a bit later. This one is still like in heavy development. It has been dropped for 1 or 2 years, and I've taken it back in development when I started my own music project the last year. And everything is on my free time. And there is also a light software that is called Blocks, and a drone choreography software, and soon a video mapper. So it's a full software suite, and obviously this is like hard to maintain all of them while also working on the rest of my life and my music. So yeah, everything is in development. Everybody is welcome to join the adventure, and yeah, I hope you will be happy and psyched about LGML. I'm happy
Yeah.
about it. We just released the first stable version that is almost stable, so it's good.
Fantastic. I can't wait to get in and test it. And yeah, prodigious output right there. I've seen you do the drone stuff with the LED pixel mapping as well. Like Ben, your output's amazing. It's awesome to see all the projects you're working on. Okay, so we'll get into just a quick run through of Chataigne itself and the components that make it up. For everyone that's joined as we started, hi and welcome. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to post them in the chat for this video call. I'll be taking note of them, and as and when is appropriate, I will be fielding them for you. Also, if there's any clarifications that need to be made, or if Ben asks for any clarifications from you, you should all have voice privileges on push to talk. So while it's mostly just me and Ben that will be talking throughout this workshop, if you know in the right context or situation, you can unmute push to talk and bring your questions forward. But otherwise, feel free to discuss, ask questions, or any of that in the stream chat next to it. With that said, Ben, let's do a little run through. Where should we start? Should we start with modules, with the state machine? Where do you think?
I start with a website.
With the website. Good shout. Good shout.
Yeah, I start with knowledge, because it seems that it's so most of you, I guess, know how to download the software, or have already done, or even using it already. I just want to show you some stuff, because I often see that people miss it, and explain as well. So the software first is in three steps development. So there is stable, beta version, and bleeding edge. So bleeding edge is kind of the testing, always up to date. Whenever I do one modification of the software, it gets instantly pushed online. So you can get, like, if I'm working with people on some stuff, this is the way I can work with people. Like, they can have fixes within 20 minutes on the other side of the world, and then I can roll a beta version. So paradoxically, beta versions seem less stable than stable, but to my opinion, they are actually more stable, because those are the ones where there are all the fixes that I see from most people using the stable. So just so you know, sometimes using a beta is not like, oh, this will crash or whatever. On the contrary. And yeah, in a general manner, if it doesn't work in stable, if you have a problem in stable, just check the beta to see if it's been fixed. I'm basically fixing things almost every day right now. So yeah. And then the thing that I really want to show is, I don't even know where it is on my software. So documentation, this is an important part, even though it's not totally up to date right now. But you can get a lot of, if you forgot some basic stuff, you would understand here the basics of, like, what Chataigne is about. So amazing Chataigne documentation, you can actually also get it from here in the help. You have all the useful links. and then there are the video tutorials. So this is how you get most like unlocking and blocking stuff. If you have a problem, you can already check there, and if it's not there, you can ask on Discord, and on Discord, if you can also say, I've been looking at the documentation, it's not there, so I can put it. Even better, you can actually put it if you want. If you are more of the interactive people, you can have this getting started here. I don't have more guides right now, but I may create more. But guides getting started, and you get this super nice interactive thing. But right now you have me, so I will explain to you. I will be your interactivity. Chataigne, this is it. We are there. Chataigne. Chataigne. So the idea, the main idea with Chataigne is whenever you work on a project, first you need to have a project. If you don't have a project, you will just open it. It's like, what do? I don't know. It's shit. And you will close it. And you will be right, because Chataigne works if you have something to do. It's not like a video software where you can just put videos and play with filters or stuff like that. And it works when you have a project, because it works when there are other things to control. Chataigne doesn't do anything. Doesn't do anything interesting. Maybe play some files, some audio files, but that's it. What you want is to connect to the rest of your setup. You have music, you have light, you have video, you have maybe motors, like Arduino boards or whatever. You want that to synchronize together. You want to understand. You want them to be linked in not non-messy way. So Chataigne will help you with that. Obviously, this is why we're here. And this is all through the module. What I call modules is basically one interface that you will connect to or get informations to. It works both ways. And you can think as one module as one object, physical or virtual. One software is one module. One phone is one module. My clarinet is one module. And everything like this is one module. There are some exceptions, but most likely this is how you want to deal with that. And there are a lot of them.
There's so many modules. It's quite amazing to see.
I have no idea how many there are. So you may not see the community modules if you just downloaded the software, and it's okay. This is what you can actually add after downloading the software if you want. And this is what sorry, Shamanic, what's your real name?
Lucas.
This is what Lucas, thank you. This is what Lucas was telling about, and you get like a lot of other modules that the community made. And you can make your own if you are scripting a little bit. So I will just explain a bit different modules. OSC, I hope everyone here knows what OSC is. If you don't, you may want to look at Open Sound Control. It was supposed to be the future of MIDI, and that was a failure, but it was something much better, so it's good. OSCQuery will actually be using it for the demo, so I will explain it a bit later. MIDI, I guess everybody knows that here, I hope. DMX is for light. It's a lighting protocol that you can like get out to the cables, to the lights. Serial would be everything like Arduino boards and other kind of serial, but mainly Arduino. UDP, TCP is for communicating through network in a very generic manner. HTTP, you can actually do requests online. You can do a Google search and get the content of that and do something with that. WebSockets are also a way to communicate through network in a different way. MQTT, same. PJ-Link is for controlling video projectors. PosiStageNet is a very specific tracking protocol to send 3D position mainly for lighting industry. And Ableton Link also, I guess you know or what it is. Hardware. So this is in protocol because some you connect to software, but these are what I call open. Like there is no there is no predefined way of communicating with those, basically. OSC is like, it's a product, it's a way of communicating. It's not a full API, it's not a full documentation on specific commands and stuff. And this is what we will see just later. Hardware is specific hardware. So sound card, as I was saying, my clarinet can be a module because it outputs sounds. My voice also is an information. So and if I want to output sound as well, I need to output it from the software. So everything in and out goes through a module, basically. Sound card. Wiimote is Nintendo's stuff. Joy-Con as well. Super nice devices, by the way. Keyboard is a keyboard mouse, so you can also like get information from keyboard and mouse, even though for professional purpose, I really don't advise that, but yeah, it's there. Kinect V2 for detecting your skeleton. Gamepad, joysticks and gamepad. Stream Deck, I guess also most of you know that it's for streaming and stuff, and basically it's just button and screen, so it's controllable. And Loop Deck is kind of Stream Deck different, but yeah. And I have one, so I can also show you a bit how it goes. GPIO is a special one that only works on a Raspberry Pi, and that allows to control directly the pins of a Raspberry Pi. So if you have a Raspberry Pi, you can actually just put Chataigne on it and have direct access to the hardware pins. And this is actually cool. You can like control LEDs, get some knobs, like potentiometers and stuff inside Chataigne without any coding. So you can basically create your own MIDI controller with Chataigne inside, with even like deported remote controller interface on a phone or whatever. That's actually really fun. Community module, I won't go over that. Delight, lighting software, LVM, video software. So software here, they are using the same protocols. They are not like using different protocols than that. The difference is because we know how to control them, I've made specific modules. So people don't need to find out how to control them. They just have to select super simple commands that are already there. Man Mapper, so video software. Millimin also, QLab also, Reaper audio software, Resolve video, Watchout, Media Server, and PowerPoint. It's not a complete list, but it's if you have other ideas, just tell me. Generator is basically generating a signal. It's like simulating something that could go from outside, or just generating things. So you can generate waves or like ticks, like a metronome, and this is very handy for a lot of purpose. System, you can retrieve the system time, the like date and everything. So you can imagine if you in some museums or some automatic installation, you would be happy to say, oh, it's a Tuesday, we will launch another timeline for something. Or it's my birthday, so I will do some decoration on my streaming thing. And OS, you can also control application, not just communicate with them, but close them, open them, and basically control the life of everything. The goal for that is, again, for installation mainly, you can just open Chataigne, like open your computer opens Chataigne. This is the only software that it needs to open, and then Chataigne will handle the whole lifetime of all the software. So this makes also all of this very simple. Custom empty is for scripting, very advanced, and Lighthouse, you should not see that on your computer because it's also a custom module. Okay, that's the list. Again, a lot of M32 I was seeing on the... oh yeah, okay. I shouldn't read the the chat. I think you will just like filter it for me. Okay. So as I was saying, modules, everything in and out. This is where you want to start on what do I have? The whole software, just as a side note, the whole software is made in a spirit of, if you are able to speak about it, you are able to write down what you want to do, you should be able to do it as much as possible the same way as you write it down. And most of the time, I would say, if you are not able to do it or you don't understand how to do it, it's because you would have a hard time writing it down because you don't have understood yet exactly what you want to do. Not always, obviously. Sometimes just like things are not where they should be, or it's just hard. But I figured that a lot of people, when I ask them to speak clearly, state every point of what they want to do, then I don't even need to give them the answer. So I designed the whole software like this. It should be readable as you would read anything, and we will see that just after. I will also go a bit through the interface. Yeah, if it's too slow, too fast, please tell me. I don't mind changing things, and if you have also questions, precise questions. Interface. So here, modules, as you see, the little green dot that is here is for creating new things. So if I click here, OSC, for example, I have a module OSC, so all the modules will be there. I can select it. What does happen when I select it? I can see here that this one change, inspector. And inspector is where you edit anything that you selected. So whenever you select something, let's say now I want a MIDI module. Now I have the MIDI module here, OSC, MIDI, and this changes. So inspector is where you spend most of your time doing things. Then, so modules, we've seen all the modules. I will go then after I will show you what's happening there. And then here we have the state machine. You can change everything. Right now, I'm showing you the default layout and the one I'm using, but actually, like state machine here, I can just take it, and now it's a floating window that I can put anywhere. So I can put it back here. I can actually put it on the left here. Boop. And now this is the state machine, and those three panels are here. So I can just put it back, poof, and now it's here. So the whole software is made like this. You can just tailor it as how you want, and you can also have default layout here, and you have even shortcuts to quickly switch through them if you have if you are juggling between different ways of working with it. Then you can do that here. State machine. State machine is where you create your interactions. So you create states, you create actions, you create mappings, you create a lot of things that we will see. And then from that, you create live interaction mainly. Things go in, things go out from there.
So could you do a quick description of like what a state is for people?
Yeah. Yes. Wait. A state is this. It's a block, and the state is actually a set of rules. It's a set of rules that will be active while the state is active. So it's a block. Yeah, it's a block of rules that you want to apply at a certain point, at a certain time, or permanently in your setup. So it's kind of a holder for a container for actions and mapping. As a lot of things that we will see just later, but this block will contain all those rules, and you can create different blocks that contain different rules and disable them so those rules are not interaction rules are not like doing anything. And yeah, and you can even go and do transition between states and crazy stuff. So this is interaction, all the, let's say, real-time interactive stuff. This I will just close right now. And here in sequences, all the bottom here is for time-based stuff, so a bit more familiar for music people as well. You create a sequence. Now you can edit it here. If I create a sequence, I can also edit it here. So and here I can create different layers that I will also explain. But basically, you can go through time. You can zoom. This is very much like lifestyle manipulation. This thing. So you should be happy for most of you. Yeah, and you can you can play, and you can play some basic audio and launch things and animate things through time and trigger things through time. So we also see that later. And here last but not least, you have the logger, which is also very important. This is where you see all valuable information, and you can actually log your own stuff. So it becomes really easy to follow what's happening and to debug things. Again, I'm pretty sure in Ableton Live, a lot of people would have loved to have something that could just like output some information when things are not working, or just even like MIDI information, that like the MIDI inputs.
And you
Anyway,
can
here
you can you can select what's being logged, right? Like that's you can select what's being logged or not logged. You can choose for one module to be
yes,
logging or not logging.
exactly. You can always filter out whenever you want to see more or less, and you can create your own custom logs. And yeah, it will also tell you very clearly when something goes wrong, like this. So now it's like error binding 12,000, and it's like in a very very red way to say, okay, something's red, I should at least be looking at it. And you will also get this super nice thing, because now I have two port OSC and they are trying to fight for the same port. So yeah, it's good. Actually, if I do that again, and now I say, oh, error, this is 12,000, I just do this, and everything now goes back to normal. So this is, for me, this is also like where I want users to have confidence in the software. It's a show software, so so it needs to bring confidence to people for sure.
Sure. So just
So
quickly,
yeah,
Larry asks, I think in reference to sequences and state, is it possible to create recursive loops in Chataigne?
yes. Whatever that means, I would say yes.
Okay. Larry, do you want to
But
clarify that potentially, either in chat or over voice?
and kernel access.
1 second.
Yeah. So I will continue in the
Yep, for
meantime,
sure,
and
Ben.
we
Yep.
will go to the state machine, and maybe it will answer by itself, actually. So from that point, anything that I can explain, it's really useless if there is not an example with it. So whenever I start Chataigne, I'm always, what do I want to do? What do I actually want to do? And even if it's just to test it out, it has to have it has to be a project in a way. So I want to do this by doing that, for example. So let's say I want to play a note with, I want to play a sound with whenever I hit a button on my pad. Very simple thing. So my pad, let's do it here. My pad here, launch pad, whatever, is a MIDI device. So I will just create a MIDI device, and I always do step by step. So I want to push a button on my pad, and then when I do that, it will do a sound. So I have my pad here. I will test here, and I think it's MIDI in 2 for some reason. Hop. Okay. And so, yeah. And what you can see already is that when I hit a button like this, I hit one of the pad, I get all the information, the MIDI information already. I mean, auto add here, meaning that everything that it doesn't know yet, it will add it. I will actually remove all those values, and I will just click user here. I've not put it by default yet because it would mess up a lot of things, but now when I do that, it's actually well ranged here, and all those containers I can just collapse them, so it's easier. So now I see my notes. My note here is my hit velocity, basically, and after touches whenever I press it after. So whenever I want right now I just want to tap here, right? I don't want any sound or whatever. I want to tap this and it will just do something. So I have my MIDI and I want then to play a note, not a note, sorry. I want to play a sound. So
Yeah.
I need a sound card. And this is where it will be really, I have no idea which one I should use for you to hear it. I guess this one.
Do you want to do a
Uh,
test? There's the little test button there.
oh, yeah, true.
Yep, we hear that.
Perfect. And me too. And so here, okay, it's a bit fast here, I think. I will go back to the MIDI actually, just so you know, just so you see. Anatomy of a module, parameters, everywhere, everything that you need to set up for controlling it. So, for example, which device you want to connect to. Maybe you have an octave shift if you are like receiving from different software MIDI, like different MIDI, or you want to say, okay, my C0 is actually this or this. And some stuff like that. Maybe auto add, I don't want to have to detect everything. So whenever I'm finished with pushing my button, I disable that, and now whatever things I touch here, it won't do anything. But this one will still react because it's already recorded, and this one as well. So sound card, it's a bit more complex, but it's kind of the same. Input gain, out volume, you have a lot of like general parameters here. You can monitor in and out easily. You have some FFT analysis to do like fun stuff with voices and triggering or controlling with bass and stuff. LTC input for controlling from time code. And then the device hardware settings and all the values that you would get if you want to have a microphone and receive some information, for example. And here I have the command tester. Everything that the software is able to output, I can find it in the command tester. So here, for example, I have one command that is play audio file. So I know that the sound card is able to play audio. I will just test it. This will not be saved in my files. This will not be anything. It's just for now and it's temporary, but it allows me to quickly test without creating a full structure.
Right.
So I will just find a file. Hopefully I have one because I've prepared well. Actually, I have not at all. So I will just go there and like think sample sound. Does that work?
I was going to say Wilhelm scream.
Well, what?
The Wilhelm scream.
Oh yeah, I'm a Wilhelm scream. Yeah,
it's a classic.
sure. I forgot I'm on the Verdiman Discord and it needs to be. Can I? Oh, wave format download. Perfect. So it can take wave MP3. I guess maybe FLAC and OGG and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So downloads internet and I get this. Poof. So now I have my file here. I have the volume. I want the channel. Yeah, left and right, why not? And I have this little trigger here that I can just test. Magnifique.
Oh, we
So
didn't hear
this
that
is
for some reason, but
you didn't get it?
no,
Oh.
we did hear the test, but we didn't
Oh
hear
yeah,
that.
because I have the. I think because it's not my voice. And
There we go.
is it better? Okay, I had the noise suppression.
Yeah, it
noise
didn't
cancelling
recognize
stuff.
Wilhelm scream as a voice.
But that's good to know if I want to continue. Actually, I will just remove it now. Sorry
Okay.
if it's a bit noisy. So I have my MIDI. I can see here the blue thing here shows that there is something. Anytime I push my button, there is this little arrow. I can actually click the little arrow. Poof. You can see here as well, the lock incoming is activated, so I can also click it here if I want. And there is now this blue stuff. And whenever I click here, you will see all the information that are going through the screen.
It's
So I can see
covered by the
whatever
camera
happens.
at the moment, but we can see that it's scrolling.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Boop. Let's do this. Actually, no, let's do this. Up. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. So you can see here, like, yeah, everything that you would need to test. So I know that my MIDI is working. I know that my sound card is working. I will now create a state to link them together. Add state. Great. And in this state, I can create an action, a mapping, and we will not now. So action is something that is a trigger, an event, something that goes is very punctual. It happens at some point, and that's it. It's not continuous, and that is like mappings are continuous. It's a value that you will modify, as like in audio software. It's like a CC or like knobs or whatever. Action would be clear, rec, stop, play, stuff like that. So what I want when I say it is if I push my button, then I want a sound to happen. So that will be an action, because you can formulate if, then. You have a condition and you have a consequence. And this is what an action is. When I create an action, I can see here condition and consequence. Wow, that's amazing. MIDI. So sorry, I have my condition. I have some parameters that we can see later. Right now, from input value here, I have this one condition that is not filled yet, and I have to select the input value that I want to use. And I think on channel watt notes, and there was this B2 here. So right now it's 0, and it filled this comparison here. So this is my value. You can see it changing here when I press. And there you have a comparator, an operator. So you have a lot of things. For me, what I want to test is if it's pressed. And pressed would mean greater than 0, basically. 0 is released, more than 0 is pressed. So here, greater than, you can actually have all of them. Yeah, you can see all of them like this. And greater than 0. I push, this becomes green. So this means it's validated. When it goes from the invalidated, not valid state to a valid state, this is where the whole the consequence will trigger. If I push, then it happens something. So now in true here, what do I want to do? Sound card, play audio file. So I tested that it works on sound card. Now I will do it for real. I go there, I get my file, and now when I press, so you can see it in many ways, in many parts. Here's a trigger. You see it happening. I can even do it manually. So I kind of bypass the condition. And the whole thing here as well is green. So when I release the button, it goes again. So it's also easy to see. You don't always need click on it and check. You can have a huge amount of stuff here and still see what's happening really quickly. So yeah, this is the basics of how you create something. If I push, then audio file. We could do that for a lot of things. The power from Chataigne for me on this stage is this stage of the presentation is everything is narrowed down to values. Everything is how to say changed, unified, and everything becomes basically values and parameters. All those are values. So when I push the button, it's an information. The temperature in this room is an information. The volume of my voice is information. And if I'm standing here or there, it's also an information. And this is an information, very annoying one. So
like an example that I'm thinking of just looking at this is you could make a mapping with the action, and that could take the velocity information of the note and change the volume of the sound card, right? Or the volume of the file being played. That just an example that I'm thinking of, like seeing what you've set up just then. So
sorry, can you repeat that?
So you could have, as well as the action, you could have a mapping tied to the volume that sound is being played. So when it's greater than 0, it's triggering the sound, and the velocity that it's being triggered at, or the velocity that it's sending at dictates the volume of the sound, for example.
Yeah, this is actually already quite advanced in this kind of setup,
Yeah.
because it doesn't you don't, because it's an action, there is completely dissociation between this information and this one. But you could actually, I mean, you can control mode and reference, and you can do that. But so yeah, there are a lot of ways to do it.
Sure. There's probably an easier example there. Sorry.
No, it's actually interesting that it's quite simple. This one is not so easy to do, or maybe I'm doing
I was
it the
just
wrong
thinking
way.
you could do a mapping, so that
Yeah,
you've got
but
the action,
yeah,
and then you could just have the
it's
mapping.
kind of defeat for me defeats the purpose of what I wanted to show, because the volume for me is I could do that. So let's do this. So whenever there's a difference action, so we've seen it's some things that goes from off to on, and when it goes on, it triggers. Actually, we can also trigger something when it goes off, back to off, with the consequence false here. Mapping here, it will trigger whenever it changes. There is no validation state, there is no threshold or whatever. So in outputs, here I have my value, right? And so what I can do now is do the same. I have input. I can filter it actually if I want, and then outputs. I won't go to parameters. It's advanced. I will do that, and I will link. So here I can just set the volume, right? But I can actually also link this parameter to the input, because this is a mapping. So this is what I can do here. And now this is actually very loud. Sorry, very loud, because this is between 0 and 1, and this is between 0 and 127, because it's MIDI, and MIDI is awesome being in random stuff like this. So what I need to do is remap from input to output. What I want to say is I don't want to use a custom range. This one knows because it's MIDI, so it knows how much it is. And target min and max, I want it between 0 and 1. So it will take the range 0 to 127 and put it in 0 and 1. Mainly on the software, I try to have everything between 0 and 1, because it makes way more sense than 0 to 127, 0 to 255, or 0 to 100. Those are arbitrary numbers. 0 to 1 is truth. So now you can see that depending on how I press it, it will launch it, and then with the volume that is affected by the mapping. So yeah, and if I want to be more subtle than that, actually, I can also do a curve map, and I can do something like this. For example, and now I can see that, because I see that whenever I push, even if I'm super gentle, it will never go in this range. So I can do this, and now I can really fine tune. I actually don't want it to be so like this. And then I want it to go. So I can do this, and if I go really, so for me, that works better for what I want to do, let's say. So this is how also I can really take the thing, how to say, I can really fine tune things. So action and mapping. Mapping is, I wish, okay, there is this one. I can actually, actually, I don't have a video software on this. I'm doing everything on my Surface Pro right now, because I want to test how good it holds, and I don't have a video software. But okay, let's go crazy and let's do, because we're on this Discord server. So now I want my MIDI other thing. I have my keyboard here, and I have some. So I will go to my oxygen, and I do this, and something's happening. Control change. Where are they?
You would need auto add.
Oh yeah, I'm not auto add. Yeah, thank you. So here I have my CC 70 between 0 and 126, right? And what I want to do is, let's say, move this window just so you see where it can go. And now I want, so I will go to my system OS. I want software window. So this is like controlling the OS. And I can see my command testers that have window and set window parameter. I will directly go here. I want to show you that because it's a more continuous way of doing things. CC20, I see it here. I can also do learn. So let's say I will just reset it. And here, if I just move it, it will automatically set it here. So it's also very convenient, kind of like live as well. And in output, what I want to do is OS window, set window parameter, and I want the name of the window. That's something like there is Wilhelm in it, or Scream. Scream is easier, right? So if it contains Scream, I want you to change it. Bring to top, yeah, why not? Position in pixels, let's say something like 300 pixels. And here, or actually no, yeah. And I will map the MIDI value. So now this will take the MIDI value, and because this will stay to 0, but it should still work. Yeah. And this is very, so yeah. So now I can change it like this. I can actually also remap it to something like, so it's between 0 and 1. So between min and max on my thing, I want it from, let's say, 200 to something like 1000 and 1400. So now I can just move it like this. And this is the same as whatever. If I wanted to change the y-axis, I also could do it. It's also, again, a bit more. Okay, let's do it actually. Conversion to 0.2D. I will do it here. And I want to set the y now. So it will base value. What is base value? That's interesting. Changing, from 0 to 127. Yeah, that's a problem. Boop. Yeah, and now I can just select here. So basically I say, you take this, you put it on the y axis, or you create a point 2D, and then you put it on the y axis, and then you remap it between from 0, 127 to 200. 140, and you can do this. Yeah.
You could also, assuming, have two input values, right? And reference X on one and Y on the other.
That's totally true. Let's do this. Boom and boom. I will just do this here and boom. And now I have my second one here, and I can just move. And now actually it works together, and I can just play Pong with it. Yeah, for some reason it's really laggy because the Windows system is taking some time, and it's very fast updates here. So yeah, this is like the kind of thing that you can do. Would not want to do that for any reason, but this is what you can do because anything is a value, anything can be controlled. So you just have to put them together. States. What's interesting with that? Let's still do something here with that. I don't have a lot of this computer, but maybe I can find some. Let's say. Anyway, I will just do it like this. So I may want a mapping of this to do something. Actually, I will introduce a new thing. In output, I can create. So a lot of commands. Here I have my modules that I created. I only have my MIDI modules here. So this is my MIDI module, and I can do a lot of things with it if I want. Actually, let's do this. I have, this is good, MIDI. So this one is my piano, and this will be my launchpad. Hop. I will connect in my launchpad out here. So now it should be good. Yep. So what you see here is I only connected in input my piano. So I'm only inputting stuff and I'm only getting stuff. And I only have this down arrow to say incoming. And on my launchpad, opposite, I only connected the out device. And what that means is I can only send to this to the pad. I don't want, because I don't want to touch it right now. I just want to use the lights on it. I will control the lights from MIDI because I can do that with this pad. I want to do that. And this is a good way also when you have a lot of modules to quickly see what is able to supposed to do what. Because I could connect both of them, but I don't need to, so I won't do it. Then you can optimize things. Just again to test, this is a launchpad. Launchpad can be lit up with not ons on the same as what they are sending. So if I remember, P27 to whatever random should hopefully put it to some light, please. No, so okay, now I can actually test here, and it's a B minus 12, yes. On control change or note, no, it's a note. And for some reason,
Are you on the program mode for the launchpad? Because isn't that the mode you need to be on for it to light?
Yeah, but I think I thought I was, and I just stated that just before. Interesting. Okay, boom, boom. I will just redo it. This is MIDI out to LPX MIDI. I'm pretty sure that should be it. Sometimes it goes, I don't know. Not on. B minus 2. This is not what I wanted to do. Yeah, okay, this is here. I have no idea what it was, why it was not, but this is supposed to work. So the launchpad sometimes, I don't know, it was doing weird stuff earlier as well. So here I have on 127, and if I do 23 right now, so let's say 23 is green and 50 is purple. Perfect. So 23 is green, 50 is purple. There is a full color code, and I will actually create a custom module for this launchpad because I use it a lot. So this is a launchpad. Okay, and let's say I want, when I press this button, for example, so go green, no, it's an action. If I press this button, go green, right? And go green will be if I press this button here. This is not what I want, channel 1, no, this is not the one. What is it? C1. C1. No, on channel on channel 2, C1. Oof. I want that more than 0 again. Boom, boom, boom. Awesome. So when this happens, I want the launchpad to go B minus 2 on 23, we said, to yeah, 23. Perfect. So I do this, it goes red. Perfect. Actually, when I relieve the pad, I relieve this pad, I want it to go, maybe I can do a not off. Should be able to. Up. Okay, so now whenever I click that, this happens. Right? So this is good. And what I wanted to, all of that, just to show this, I can actually create another state. I will just copy and paste this one, and now go purple. And I don't remember, I think it was 70 or something. Now I want it to go to 70. So I will disable this one. I will have this one, and now it goes, oh no, it's white. Yeah, I don't remember which one. Yeah, purple. It was there. Purple. Okay, so whenever I'm in this state, this button is green. Whenever I'm in this state, this is purple. So this is really awesome, very useful, because what it means is you don't, like, a lot of MIDI controllers and a lot of things are thinking about like autonomous ways of expanding how many buttons you have and how many controls you can do with a limited number of buttons. And for me, whenever I hear somebody says, "Hey, look, this awesome controller, it has like 16 banks," it's like, I don't care. You can have as many banks as you want. You can do whatever you want, and you can like cross the banks. You can have like part of it stays the same while another part of it changes. This should not be on the controller responsibility. The controller, this is a button. This is just a button. It's on and off. It's basically what it does, and maybe some velocity. But no, this is a potentiometer. This is like the one you turn, knobs. It's like it's a value from 0 to 127, and it should not be, from a controller perspective, and from my opinion, it should not be more than that. And I don't want to put more intelligence in the controllers, because this is where you mess a lot of things. Things can then you have to basically speak a lot of languages when you could only speak one, when everything is run at the same place with the same paradigm and mechanism. So yeah, this is a way to easily do that. And I will do just one more, and then we can a bit go off the states. Because those are states, you can transition between them like this. This is also a way. So now I just created, right click, create transition, and now I do this. So this means now they are connected. It's a state network. And it means that whenever I activate one, all of the other ones linked together will be deactivated as well. There can only be one active at the same time. Boom, boom. So already easier when I do this. I know that it will only be this, and this only be this, and it won't, it's not risking anything, basically. So what happens now is, if I want, for example, this one, if I put it on the right, so like value more than 63, it will be, I want it to be on the state one, and value less than 63 on this one. So I can do this. I will click on my transition, and my transition is actually an action. So
okay.
I can create here in the transition. Now you see that it becomes solid because it has a condition. It means that it can trigger by itself. If it's, I will do it like this. If it's like this, it means that it can't be triggered by itself. It's just like it's there for linking, basically. If it's solid, it means it could trigger by itself, and it will, because now I want this to up. I want to be more than, let's say, 63. This is 64, whatever. Boom, boom. Okay. So now when I go to my right, boom, it goes here. And now when I go to my left, same. Like this, less than 64. So now if I go to my right, I'm here. If I go to my left, I'm here. So I can easily, you don't actually see that it's purple or green, no?
We can just a bit. It's not super clear in the camera, but it's clear enough.
Yeah.
We can see it's a different color.
Good.
So, Ben, Kathleen asks, do you recommend leaving the interactions for Chataigne, or do you recommend doing a certain amount of interactions within original software? for example, Milumin or Isadora or MadMapper, and leave certain interactions for Chataigne. Does Chataigne run lighter than the same interactions within original software?
So it's I will kind of answer the same way I was answering earlier. It's an interesting question, and basically this is now why like quick anecdote. When I started putting Chataigne in public, I actually lost some contracts because people who would hire me now would just call me and say, how can I do that in Chataigne? And they would find ways, and that would be great, and I would just like do other things. But the more complex it got, the more people, the more actually after that I got more hired more, because people starting more complex stuff, and then they needed kind of an architect, people who would see the main stuff as like an actual human orchestrator that would program like or configure the software orchestrator. So there is no clear answer on what should be where. For me, in a general manner, I would try to put as much as possible in places that you can easily understand and debug. Debugging is one. But at the same time, it's kind of software coding architecture. When you are thinking about which kind, like what interaction to put where, it's the same as say, if this software was a person, how much would I need to explain to it or to lie to him or to her to make it or him or her do what I want? Mm-hmm. So this is how I think about my setups. And it's like, if I'm starting putting more intelligence in this software, how much do I have to hack it afterwards to do what I want? Because I asked him to do things, and it's doing other things on their own. So this is like controllers. You can easily see. Sometimes you just want something to light, but you have to do really weird things and like deactivate and whatever. So for controllers, and especially the one that you program yourself, like Arduino, a lot of people, because of how Arduino is taught, would put a lot of intelligence in the board. And I would say, no, make them as dumb as possible. This is the hardest to debug. This is the hardest to modify and to update. Make them as dumb as possible. Because if you are using a computer, everything is easier with from the computer anyway. And then there is like the optimization and performance consideration. If you want, if you have a lot of data that is passed on and it's just for the purpose of putting it from in Chataigne and then putting it there, if you have thousands of parameters that are like interpolated or whatever, if you don't need that and it's just like a transfer, maybe it's easier to have them on the remote software, on the actual software. But it's always a question of what will I need to control and how I will need to control it. And my default state would be what are the reasons I would not put it in? Like if I'm using Chataigne, what would be the reason I should not put it? And then if I can answer this question, then it's okay. It's not bad. It's a good design if it has a good yeah. You're welcome.
Awesome.
So yeah, this is how I think about the installation. And sometimes it's hard. Actually, there have been a lot of installation where we thought everything was good in Chataigne, and then we had to offload it, and then we put it back. And this is the life of an installation. That's you discover things and you have to change them. I would say also the software I made it. Some things are maybe a bit long to do. I try as much as possible that the things that may be a bit longer to do and like seems a bit like painful, there are the things that you don't need to do a lot of times. And then there are all the things that you do always, and this should be a bit faster. Maybe it's not perfect right now, but this is the goal. And I'm telling you that because most importantly, whatever happens when you are in an installation, you should allow yourself to change whatever you need to change for it to be better at any point. And the software that you use should be designed so you can allow yourself that. The whole setup that I put here and that I will show later, I took an hour, 2 hours yesterday to actually set up the table, computer and everything, and the LGML and Chataigne section. And this is where I want everything to be fast to create. So if I want to change something, I can change it whenever I want. I'm not like, oh, okay, everything will break, or I don't know where. Like it will make it take too much time. Yeah, sorry, I went a bit far.
No, all good.
But this is, yeah. Okay, states. Yeah, we have 2 states. We can switch between them. The project that I have right now is not super interesting, but you can see how it works, and you can see how it would be interesting when changing music filters, or like VST filters, or like different parts. And this is why I call that live, is because it is live. Like everything here, if I'm not touching anything, basically it's not doing anything. You could automate stuff, but it would still be not as temporal, not chronology, not timed based. And this is where we go to the time machine. This is what completes full control software. You have interactions, you have real time, and then you have time based, sequence based. So we saw, before you have sequence, you can have as many as you and soon, hopefully, you can actually group them. So sequence here, I will create a sequence. I will create some stuff in it. So for example, I can trigger. So here we have a trigger that is an action, because you can say if I do I input some information, then something happens. A trigger in a timeline means if the time passes through it. So you don't have conditions, you only have consequences, because the condition is intrinsic. And I can do the same. I could, for example, let's say first I want to clear the note, so I will do a note of B-2 here. So this is the clear. Up, I just double click and I can like rename everything, and this is important because this is what you want to do to have clean stuff when you are when you are working on more complex setup.
Could
Take time
you
to rename
move
everything.
the camera again, Ben, just so we can see the
sorry.
sequence editor a little bit better?
Yeah,
No
thank
problem.
you. It's really good that you're here. And then not okay, green here. I'm just taking the same dumb example. And green here, so you guessed it. I can do something like this. I will go to consequence true. I do copy here and a green and paste. Proof. So this is a little trick for people who already know Chataigne.
That's super
Learn
useful.
nothing.
I could have used that 2 weeks ago.
Don't hesitate to right-click everywhere on the software and see some hidden stuff. There are so many hidden gems. If you actually right-click here, you already have those just there, So copy consequence true, you can copy true to false, you can like copy false to true and whatever, and conditions as well. So like this is really handy and you can do just that. Also, you can just take this and put it here, and you can already create an action on a mapping based on that. So it's kind of a shortcut to create a mapping or an action from a module, like whoop, and then I can just mapping I want Norton, and I already have a mapping output going to the launchpad with this and already mapped. So it can go really fast when you get those shortcuts. I'm pretty sure there is a page on the documentation, actually. There's a cheat sheet for that. So clear green, and right now it's not doing anything, but now if I play, clear and green should be now bloop, green. So basic, you get things like this. This is all again very handy. You have some audio file that you want to. Pretty sure I don't have any audio file here. Let's take this one. You have the ding. You want to put the ding at 5 seconds exactly. Poop, you do that, and you have your green exactly there, and you replay and boom. Actually, I had a ding sound. I don't know
Yeah, we didn't
how
hear
I
that
just
ding
pulled it up
again.
like this.
I don't know if
Oh,
you
you
put
didn't?
your noise thing back on or if something
No,
else.
I didn't.
No,
Huh.
we didn't hear that.
Oh, yeah, maybe it's not on the quick
Uh-huh.
one. Yeah.
There we go.
Okay. So this is how you get time-based. You can actually animate colors as well. So maybe more for the streamers than music, but why not? Or video. But you can easily create colors, change interpolations. You can animate colors, and you can animate mapping like values. So
Mm-hmm.
audio, triggers, colors. Actually, colors are a bit more complex, and values. And this is the same as if I turn my knob here. It's the same as animating a value in time. It's just then here it's in time. It's the same as in Ableton, like modifying values,
Yeah.
except this one is almost infinitely more precise than the MIDI mapping that you have
Sure. Because
in
it's
live.
floating
So,
point.
because it's floating points, and you can already set a range, and you can like modify values, and you can like do a lot of crazy stuff on that. You can filter them the same way you would filter things here. So, yeah. So now you can animate that, and you can control that. You can have this control whatever you want, intensity of like opacity of a video, a track, or whatever. So these are the base things that you can do in a sequence. You can actually do more. You can control sequence with sequence, and you can control. You can do 2D mapping, which is a bit. But you can basically, do kind of things like this, and then it will like go through it, and this is like controlling a 2D point. So if we're taking the window moving example,
Mm-hmm.
like animate it like this, for example, or again anything else that is in 2D. Okay, so small things that are interesting that you may know also from Ableton Live for those who are using it. Mapping here, you can actually record things. So let's say I have my piano in channel 2. I had my control. This is 70. I think is this one. Great. I can, I see still that working. I can normalize it, so it will be between 0 and 1. I arm. This becomes red here. I want maybe an auto disarm, so when it's finished recording, it will stop, so I don't mistake. And then I just press play, and I can see here my value changing. Boom, 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 shoop. And when I finished, it's creating this point that I can like quite easily change now again for whatever I want. And if I want something more straight, I can go linear here in interactive. And if I arm again, I do this, and I and now when I do this, it's already simplifying. I can change the tolerance of the simplification. So this one looks like the one I wanted. And now I get like this super clean thing to work on. And I can still change afterwards my animation if I want it to. Whoa, I changed something here. Yeah, I can still change them all and still
Uh-huh.
work on it. Yeah, and any curve mapping
So you can
so
add
many things
noise
with
to
it.
it. Wow, look at that.
Yeah, you can do noise, and you can like do attenuation noise on the back, and like, so you can do something like this, and now or Perlin noise is also a fun one. It's like this, and you can like change a bit more how it's looking, and this is like a more subtle one, for example, or you can actually like change the linearity of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there are a lot bounce also. Oh, I don't know. How is that? Ah, didn't. Uh-huh. Yeah, okay. Bounce seem to have a problem for some reason. Interesting. Elastic, yeah, something like this. It's like,
Oh, super cool.
so this kind of stuff. Oh yeah, and while we are on filters, on interpolation and filter, I can also show you this one in a mapping. Let's say I have this controller. I want to remap it because I will then see this, but I don't want it to be so so straight. I want to smooth it, so I can actually smooth it in filters.
Mm-hmm.
So if I crank up the filters now, I have this nice filtering. So this one is a very simple one, but it works quite great. And then you also have there are a lot of different filtering. This is for reducing noise, and damping is a physical based one. So if I do a lot of force and less damping, for example, you will see that there is some elasticity to it. So this is also how quickly you can change any value. Yeah. So those are filters in mappings. I don't know how well we sort this video out here to make it understandable by other people. Anyway.
No. That's super useful. I personally can see myself using all of those in in a lot of contexts.
Oh wait, I will just put the light on.
Uh-huh.
Okay, better for me. Yeah, it's already 20. No, we have time. We have so much time.
We do still have time. We do still have a few things to cover, though, don't we?
Yeah. So we have 1 hour and a half. You said things about sorry. Okay, I think
Oh, no
thing.
worries. You can have a look in the chat. That's fine. I think I've brought up everything. So, to what Larry said earlier, this is going back a little bit when he asked about recursive
Oh
loops.
yeah.
He said, "I was asking mainly for performance reasons because, if true, it would be nice to be able to identify bottlenecks. A performance profiler would assist with that." So yeah.
So the answer is, I think if you try really hard, you will be able to do a recursive looping infinite, and you may crash the software. But I have not known anybody doing that, and especially not unwillingly, because you would have to do something like this, and there are a lot of precautions. So basically, if something is triggering that, it will not go straight to this one. It will like wait for it to go off and on again, and you would have something that goes really fast. So if you want to profile thing, though, let's talk about that. For me, it's something important, and a lot of people know about. I try also, most of in this chat already know about Chataigne, I guess, and at least a bit, and I don't want to do the same like, let's discover Chataigne. So how many are we? It's good. So whenever you don't exactly understand what's happening in your thing, so let's say I'm here and there are a lot of other things happening, but I'm not sure here. What I can do is put logs. I was talking about logs. Right now, I always put only one action. So just for a reminder, I'm in my action go purple, which means if I'm putting, actually now it's go orange, sorry, I'm up, go orange. I don't know. You don't see it so much anymore. Oh, but because it's not there. Now it's there. Okay, yeah, you see it. It's good. So action, if I play this, then it triggers this. Otherwise, it triggers that. And this is put it to orange, and this is put it back to black. Okay. So what I want to do now is, maybe I don't see the controller, maybe it's on stage somewhere else, maybe somebody triggers it, and I only see what's happening in the logger. I have the clear here. Now it's clear. And what I can do is add another consequence, because consequences, it's not just one thing. I can say, if I press this, you will put that to orange and play your music and start a fan on the stage and maybe send something to the lighting software to start the show. So all of that with only one push of a button, and you can also delay and stagger all the thing. So yeah, the consequences are quite powerful, actually. So now what I want to do is log. And I can do that here. Now I can log a message in generic. I can do a lot of things. Basically, I can control any parameter, and I can also log a message. And what that means is I can choose warning, error, or info. So it can be good also if you design for other people or for yourself. You can like have different levels of things. But here, what I want to actually write is orange. I'm really not getting crazy right now. And in generic, in the consequence false, I will put a message that will be black from orange, because this comes after this one. So now I know that all my messages are kind of complete.
Yep.
I can do that. I can do the same here. So generic log message, green, and log message, black from green.
And so
So
we
if
can
I do
see
this
that.
now,
Can you move your camera again just to the side so we can
again,
see
sorry, yes.
the log?
And this is here. This is here, sorry. So now if I do this, orange, black from orange, orange, black from orange. I go to the other one, green, black to green, green, black to green. Boom, 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 boom. So this is very handy for a lot of reasons, obviously. I can also, like, if I want to log the piano, I can actually do this. And what I see now is the note on, green, note off, black from green. I can witness the whole process, basically. But I want to do one more. The transition here, I want also, and this is why transition are actually really interesting for me. It's like now I can say green to orange. And in this one, log message, orange to green. So now I can also see when it's switching like this from one to another, not just when it arrives on it. Actually, I can do even one more because now I can actually have an action in it. And this action will not have a particular condition from a value, but unactivated. It becomes green. And this means that whenever this gets activated, this will be awake. This will trigger. So now here, activate green with, I don't know why I put that like this, but why not? I will put it, I will get it, I will just, why? Okay. And init here, activate orange. So now if I do this, you see green to orange, activate orange. Orange to green, activate green. So this is really good. Also, if I just manually do that, boom, you see that now I have activate green and activate orange straight to it without a transition, obviously, because it didn't happen. And that's also a good way to see if you have like more complex stuff, like escape rooms use a lot Chataigne for that, because you can see quickly how, put a code and then go to the other room and go do this thing. And if this has happened, then we activate these rules or whatever. And then we play some sequential and animations. So this is kind of really handy for that. But then when you do things like this, you can see that something here happened differently than previously. So this is where it's very good to be able to debug anywhere in the software. So yeah, this is debugging. And this is for me when you were talking about like profiler or whatever. This is where, yeah, there is a real power to that when doing complex setup. Even small setups actually. A lot of people when they talk when we talk about that about their use of Chataigne, it's like I'm only using 1%, 5%, or 10% of Chataigne because I always feel like the software is so huge, which actually not so much because it's always on the same concept. But everybody feels like there are so many things that are only one tiny part of it. But it's there is no how to say, there is no using 5%. Like there is one concept in Chataigne, and it's then like expanded to a different ways of seeing it or ways
Different
of controlling
viewpoints,
it. But
almost.
yeah, values, modification of values, sending back the values, done. So obviously there are a lot of things, but don't think you are like underusing it. There is no underusing it. You use it for what it's for your setup, and that's it.
Sure. So like an example of that is like I haven't used transitions very much myself. I'm watching how you use them now and seeing that they're really, really powerful. But I have used on state activates, and I have activated and deactivated states a lot. So even if there's one way of doing it where you use transitions to activate and deactivate states, you can also handle it in a totally different way if that's what makes sense for your use case, or if that's just how you've approached it. So I've had actions in states that activate or deactivate other states.
Yeah, and that's a really good transition. You could also indeed have, let's say, I want still it to be a network because I want to ensure that those ones actually not even like that. No. Now, okay, I will do this. So this is a state network, and there is another state that is completely independent. And yes, I can totally have this one as a global, change the other ones. Because anything from the software can control anything in the software. So here, I don't really care about the transition. The thing right now, actually, I can do the same from here, which is a bit different, but okay, this can actually control for state machine, and now in state I can set state activation, and I want state 1, I will call it A, and this one will be B, and this one will be K, because, well, whatever. And this action is activate A. And now I can just activate this. I will duplicate this with Control D. Boom, activate B. B here. So now I can activate from outside, which can be interesting for a lot of ways. And I can like activate K here. Actually, can I even do this? State machine, state, toggle state, poof. And now I can toggle K. So now I can like switch on and off this one independently. So you could have like a global like this, or many globals, whatever, who are like basically handling how the different rules are done. And this is a way for sure. Again, there is not one way of doing things. There are good ways and there are for sure bad ways. But it's just like it's one main concept, and then you can like choose how you attack it, basically, knowing that a lot of things are possible. And just again, if you are writing on the paper what you actually, how you want your control system to work, you can spend a lot of time writing it down. And the more you spend it on writing it down or like thinking about it in your head, the easier and the cleaner it will be afterward on the software. Because this is just a representation of what you would tell about, what you would say if you had to explain to someone how it goes. You know, when I push this button, then the whole now like controlling my looper. But if I go to this place of the stage, now it's controlling the light. The same, my same controller is controlling the light. So you can just say that. And it's like this would be, I push a button, boom, this is controlling my looper. And then I go, so I detect my position somewhere. I have a module saying detecting my position. And I would just say, if my position is somewhere on stage, boom, it activates that. And then all the controls are now controlling something else. And I can swap like controlling some video control. So here I have my swap like toggle video control activation from whatever. So yeah, and again, you can also do that between state and sequences. Not again, I never said that before, but you could also say, okay, when I actually swap that, or yeah, I swapped this one and this I want when it activates, for instance, to launch the sequence. So maybe this is my swap, I don't know, God moment, and whenever I'm somewhere on the stage, I like this example visual. But if I step somewhere on the stage, then lights on and some audio file like happens, you know. And whenever I'm there, it's like this. So how can I do that? When I and maybe I can have other controls as well. It's not fun. So whenever this is activated, I want the sequence that I will call R to run now. So playback, play sequence. This is again in my consequence. I have a lot of play from start, because I want always to play it from start. And then here I will add an audio. I will add a magnifique, awesome R sound. And it's 2 sequence. Yeah, 2 sequence. Okay, it's like this. And when I'm out of the state, I want it. So now on deactivate. When it gets deactivated, so play. When it deactivates, I want to stop it. So consequence true, sequence, playback, stop sequence. Oh. And now when I toggle it, and when I toggle it again, it will. So yeah, like this. Not so godlike, but I can also, I think I can reduce the speed a bit so I have more time. Yeah.
Amazing.
So
that's pretty good.
I think you can even scratch that if I'm not mistaken. That, and I make it 1 second. Okay, there is a bad crackling, but at some point I was able to scratch it. Anyway, so yeah, this is how you You can control sequences from the state machine, and you can do the opposite same way, because any commands are accessible from anywhere. So now I have the same command. I could say here, you will do something like you actually start B. Now I want you to activate B. So whenever I hear, I play. And when he arrives here, it actually activated B. So I can do it again. I will just remove the audio because it's annoying. But boom, and then this trigger activated that. So you can see how it can get easily more like intricated and way more. You can automate a lot of things and mix real-time and sequence-based and like this. Okay, wait, time for drinking.
Yep.
Water.
I've just got to deal with something. I'll be 2 minutes and I'll be right back.
So I think, because I want to leave some questions and some demo on like some more complex demo on music. Hopefully it will work. I don't know. I want to show you the dashboard before. I think this is one of the important things. There is also custom variables and multiplexes and yeah, a lot of things. But if you have questions about that, I will be happy to answer. If it's because this one is more for like introducing the software to people who exactly know it, and maybe going a bit more deeper for the people who are already using it. I don't want to fry too many brain, or brain too many fries. I don't know. State machine. I want this to be. I want this to be. Oh, that's interesting. I could have done that with the other ones, but maybe this one. Anyway, so let me find a nice sound while it's away, just so you understand why. You will understand why. I don't know, waves. Not exactly nice. Waves of highway. Or ambient, I don't know. I should have prepared for a sound. I've never prepared ambient. I have no nice sound. Ah, that is nice. Okay. Up, yeah. Okay. So this is a sound. I will see if OG actually works. I will just do another completely clean stuff, sound cards. Let's go to voice meter. I will put this sound here. Okay, so there is this that you should be able to hear. And I want to easily control it from outside. I have made my stuff. I have like, I don't have a controller or whatever. I just have my phone or my iPad or another computer, but I don't have this computer, and I still want to control it. I could use something like Touch IC or OpenStage Control, or there are so many to control it, and then I could just like have OSC here, and I would receive messages, and I could like interpret them to control it. That's one way, and that would work. But getting feedbacks on that and like it can be a bit tricky. So what I can do is just basically I have those buttons like play, stop here when I hit the sequence. I take the play and I put it here, and now I have my play button. And I take the stop and I stop. And now this is like making an easy interface. I don't need to have my whole state machine. If sometimes it can get messy here as well a bit. Like if you have a lot of states, it will be a bit more complex for sure.
Sure.
But then you can like still create some things with different pages like this, and have your buttons, and you can customize the shapes or whatever. But now let's say you have play and stop. And I want the volume maybe of this as well. So volume here, where is the volume? The volume is on the layer actually. Poof, volume, effect. And okay, just for playing a bit, we can put the speed here. So I have play speed, volume, and play stop. And I can already like use them. I go out of edit mode and I can just use that super easily. So that's phase one of a dashboard. It's cool. I can basically design whatever I want like this and put any parameter, any trigger. I can just put it here. What I can do more is this. No, I will put 22,000. So now what I've done is exposing that to the web. So when I go on my browser, I can just do this and it doesn't work. Yes, because I don't have the files, I'm pretty sure.
I think you put the
no,
wrong address as well.
22,000.
Yeah, 22,000.
Yeah. And it works because I have the file. So now I have the same, right? And actually, if I move it here, it moves instantly. So you can really easily like change things. It's not like reload or whatever. It's just you can do whatever. I can, even if I put another one, let's say I have the toggle play here, which is fun to play. I will put it in the middle, poof, and I will just TP. Poof. I will put it here, and it will be but so you see that like everything is changing, and whenever I change a parameter here, it changes also. It changes here, here, and there. So wherever I control, everything is controlled. So okay, actually even click should check that. Anyway, so this is how you can like control that, and this I could easily on the same network. I could put it on my phone, and I could see it on my phone. So control it on my phone, and you don't need to have like dedicated applications or whatever. Like anybody's phone, you just tell them to go to a specific URL on the browser, and they will be able to control it. And you can also like hide some dashboards from some for some stuff, or like put passwords if you have maintenance, for example, or systems, but you still want other things to be controlled. And let's do one fun experiment now, because I remember that being something that Lucas had fun with. And this should work. So now I can ask you all at the same time to go there. Yeah, oh, Niklas already had it. Nice. I don't know who's doing that. I know that at least so I have at least 4 people already there. Oh, more than that now. Play is not working anymore. Oh yeah. So and what you is anybody.
You've invited chaos.
Exactly. Oh yeah, with play speed on the other way. Oh, this is because play speed should be, I think. Yeah. So yeah, this is the idea. I can also just like remove the server here if I want to stop that. But you get the idea. Like anybody can play really instantly on that, and you can see as a streamer how it could be really fun to provide interfaces like this. But also, for me, I've been using this to work remotely with people. So basically, I just like give that, and I know that I can control some stuff. And then when we meet for the actual like performance, we already have exactly what we want because it reduces so much the what you can how to say the distances, and before it would mean being far away, meaning like we can control, we have to simulate. Now it's basically like anybody can control anything. So yeah, this is a really fun stuff. Yeah, Lucas, you also wanted me to talk a bit more about what we envision for the future. So this is, you can see that it's like pretty simple dashboard. And if you've been working with TouchOSC or OpenStage Control, those are much advanced frameworks to do crazy stuff. And I said, obviously, if you are following Darren Birdieman, you can see how crazy it can get. And this is where we want to go, but keeping the same concept, the same. TouchOSC and OpenStage Control have one thing that for me is a problem. It's actually really good for what it is because it feels it is filling the void where you want controls and you want like new buttons, you want new interfaces. My way of working is you create the content, you create the parameters. Like this play button or this volume is this volume here is already existing. And if you want to control exactly this parameter, you shouldn't need to create another one that is existing only in a remote controller and link it, because we are staying in a computer system, and the way you were controlling just before is there is no other parameter. It's the same parameter. It's just a new visualization somewhere else of the same parameter. But when you create something in TouchOSC, you're creating a new one, and you have to link it somehow. So sometimes it can be straightforward, and sometimes it can be a bit more complex. So for that, the new dashboard, we want the new dashboard to be fully web, and but still get the same concept of you can create UI, you can create as much UI as you want, but what you control is already existing. You don't create new control. So the new UI will be way better in terms of like visualization, components that you can do. You will be able to script in it as well, and you can like do grids and button rows and like all the things that can layouts, obviously. But we will get there. I was actually talking to the OpenStage control maker Jean-Emmanuel earlier, a few months ago. But basically, it's we may go from OpenStage control to create our own version of it to do that, or use his, or maybe do something completely new. We don't know yet, but yeah, that's where it's going, and I really hope the dashboard v2 will be like really super awesome for that, and will create like nice interfaces. On this one, you can already create, like background image or whatever. I think I have some fun stuff that, yeah, perfect.
Yeah, and there's
Picture
also
of fried chicken.
there's also a feature you have, which I think OpenStage Control might have, but a lot of other control surface software doesn't have, which is texture sharing. So I don't think you'll be able to demo that right now, but you can share Siphon or Spout, depending on the software, textures with Chataigne, which is super useful. So for those that don't know, Spout is a video or a texture sharing protocol that lets you share video textures or just general textures over the GPU. And so that means on a local network or even over just the network in general, you can share video files onto your control surface, so you can visualize what you're controlling directly in Chataigne.
Actually, yeah, it's here. So, small anecdote as well. For those who don't know Spout, or no, for those who know Spout, I'm one of the main like core developer of Spout with Lynn Jarvis, who made the website and maintains the plugin. But then this is why I was like really wanting to have it supported in Chataigne as well. I made
Wow.
the After Effects plugin and the Air plugin as well, and work with Resolume and Touch Designer for their integration in Spout
Wow.
earlier,
Massive
like
props to
back
you
in
for that.
2014.
I did not
Um,
know that, so massive props to you for that. We're all big
yeah,
fans of Spout here.
thanks. Yeah, I'm super happy that it got so much adopted, and it's a good how do you say, like, free card, like, hey,
Mhm.
I've developed Spout, and people now listen to it suddenly. I mean, those who know. So what if I want to do something like put sender here, Spout sender. So let's just do this. Yeah, because actually it is very interesting, especially if you're streaming or doing visuals. But basically, I can, let's say you are generating visuals or even a webcam. Actually, I could have done that from here. No, I can. Oh no, I don't have the Spout here,
Yeah,
and
there's
it would be a bit
a
too much
plugin
to
for
do.
OBS, but if you haven't got the
Yeah,
plugin
yeah.
already, it's
I
slightly a
had it on
pain
the
to
other
set up.
computer,
Yeah.
but okay. Anyway, let's say there is this thing. Hop. Where is it? Here. So this is just a like sample,
Mm-hmm.
sample app to test. So you can imagine that this is output of OBS or generated with TD or whatever. And now you can just go there, boom, add a shared texture. And I forgot that I think, do this, because it tells me this app is not using shared renderer. Actually, I will just remove everything. I don't really care. I will put it again. I create just a dashboard, boom, bam, shared texture, and now it's here. And if I actually share it on port 22,000, maybe you see it, maybe not.
Live testing. No texture received. Did you activate expose on web option on the
expose on
shared?
web, boom.
There we go. And I see it right there.
Perfect. So yeah, this is basically also like very handy stuff for you could do, like, basically you could do almost a whole stream just like this. No audio, but yeah, you get the idea. Don't do that also.
Yeah. It has slowed down
Yeah,
your video, so I think your Surface is struggling with it a bit. So probably
I
we
just
stop it for now. But
it's still on my video
yeah,
from
it's slowed down
yeah.
your video on Discord. I
Yeah,
think just
I guess
CPU
I don't have a
resources.
great connection here.
Yeah,
I'm far away in Alsace-Champagne near the mountains.
yeah,
I don't have fiber.
that's all good. No, but just letting you know.
So,
So also for the recording, because at the moment, maybe it is just on my side, but you were frozen for a bit.
oh, because
I think you're back now. I think
stopped.
it was just while you were sharing the texture, the
Yeah.
Surface was
Yeah.
struggling a bit, and it just impacted your
Yeah.
network.
It's not exactly meant for streaming on the web, but for local, it's really handy for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And especially if you're on wired network, it just works great. Okay. We have some people. That's nice. So maybe I can do, like, I have just a quick music demo just so you can see a bit like what we've talked about, and maybe you have
Yeah.
more questions on
Could
other
I
things after.
could I ask you to cover one more thing? I know we didn't really cover it too
Yes.
much, but custom variables and
Yeah,
so you knew
I
it was coming,
knew.
and morphing. Custom variables and the
Oh,
morpher.
yes.
Because
Okay.
especially we've been covering a lot morphing over here in the Beardy Man server. It's been a fascination for Beardy Man recently, different ways of morphing, and I've certainly been singing Chataigne's praises for its morpher. So it would be great to cover that
Nice.
in this.
Okay, let's go. Let's do this. Okay, custom variables workshop. So sometimes you only want what we've already done. So let's say I have MIDI here, and you want. So that way, like custom variables can be many things, but sometimes you want to do simple mapping, simple actions. I do something, and and sometimes you want intermediary state. You want to store some memory. So a simple example is a game, for example. If you want to, every time I push this button, basically I win 1 point, and I have to push it 10 times to win the game. This is like a stupid game, but it's still a game. So whenever I push that, I need to remember that there was a previous score, and I need to increment it by 1 or by whatever at that point. So this is where custom variables, as the name says, is so I can create a group inside custom variables, and there I can create variables, my own variables. So I can, for example, have one that is score. So this one is kind of outside anything. It won't be changed by a module automatically by default. It won't do anything on its own. It's just there as a storage for holding things that I can animate easily, that I can do things. So this is where you can create your own set of things, or you could also think of that as a macro. A macro is basically something that has no direct meaning, except when you give it So this is a variable, this is macro, this is custom variable. So I can do a score here. I will do it one really quickly because it's interesting to see how it works. I create an action. I do a MIDI here. I go fast so you can also see here. I have my C1. I go here. It's a new way of learning that is bad for MIDI actually. That change. C1 is more than 0. So whenever I do this, what I want to do is actually, through custom variables here. So I could modules, and then the special modules, and custom variables is one of them. Set value, and I want my group score. I will actually call it game. Up, and in my game here, game score value, and I want to add 1. So whenever I do this, it will increment here, and I can do this indefinitely. But this is a point, and now I want to do win the game. So what do I actually check? Now I'm checking my custom variable, game, score. And what I want to check is it's more than or like maybe 20. Actually, I will just put it back to 0 and put it to 10 here. Yeah. So when it's equal to 10, actually, what do? I will log something like you won. Yeah, and you are beautiful because you deserve that. So this is here. I will put in warnings. See, it's quite good here. And I will also log a message here, points, just something like log a message. And I was like, peace. Great. So I'm pushing here. Oh, last thing I want to do, you won, great. And then I want actually to reset this so we can start the game again indefinitely, forever. So I don't know, I don't remember which one is it again. Which one? What? A sharp. Okay. Okay, let's do B1. I don't know why I changed that. Maybe I put. So here I can say I score. Oh, you won and you're beautiful. So whenever it goes to 10, poof, I don't see it because it goes to it goes to 0 straight. Let's do few more things because it's fun, just so because people don't know that. Maybe I want to show for 3 seconds a message and then reset for some reason. I can put a stagger here. What it means is it will do this one, and in between here it will insert 3-second delay. Or maybe let's do 1 because it's a lot. So let's do it again. Boom. And I will change one more thing. Here I know points, but I don't know how much. So instead of logging a message, what I want to do is log a value. And my value is the one that I go into game, variables, score. So point new score is poof, and then it will log that. So if I do this here, my new score is 6, 7, 8, 9. And now when I'm going here, it's like it will go to 10 and show that. And 1 second later, it will reset 10. And now it goes to 0. So this is very interesting that if you want to delay action, sometimes you want to do that, wait for a fade or a reverb to do something, or yeah, just animate things really easily without doing a sequence, for example. It can be interesting to do that. So this is stagger. And delay is like global delay, so basically delay is the first one. So this is interesting. Second case, use case for custom variables, because it's centralized and not tied to something. Like for example, this button is tied to my physical button, so the information that is here has a meaning because it comes from this button. This is what it represents. But this one is representing a score in a game. It's not representing this particular button. So I could also say that if I long press this one, for example, it will, if I press for 2 seconds this one, I will jump 5 points already. So how do I do that? I will actually check now that it's more than equal, because maybe I go. So I do another action that is boost. And this boost, I will check that, I don't know, G sharp 1 is more than 0. And I want, so now it's already doing that, right? I have my validation time here. What this one does is, if I put 2 seconds here, 2 seconds, now it will, I have to keep it pushed for 2 seconds. When I release it before, it won't go. But if I keep it, boom, now it goes. So this is how you create like long presses and safeties. Okay, so what I can do now is the same custom variable games add 5. And obviously I will do as generic log message boost. So I'm here, I'm playing, I don't know where it is. No, that doesn't, not this one, this one. So new score 6 and then boost, boom. Boost doesn't work because I have to push it, and you can actually already here as well. So I don't need to open it, boom. And you won, I got a boost and I won at the same time. So a lot of different concepts at the same time. I know, just like validation time, great. What is interesting is that because it's a custom variable, I can easily change it from different places and still have the win here is basically my function that goes from custom variable to something that, I don't know, launch confettis, like sparkles or whatever would be this. It comes from the custom variables, and I don't need to check different ones. This is a central point of information that is what is my score. And I can change it from a timeline, I can change it from actions, and I can then like put all the information about the score on the same place and then get it straight from there. And I can even change it by hand like this. And and if I put 10 already here, boom, I won. I cheated, but I won. So this is very valuable for that. You create your variables and then you can assign them from anywhere and you can then use them. And it makes also sense. It's easier when we have complex setup to gather information at one place. Now for the morpher. So I create another group that I want. And so now let's say you have, let's talk in terms of music stuff, music shit. So I create my variable. I can create floats, integer. So float is basically number, floating points. Integer. Boolean is on off. Strings is characters. Color is color. 2D, 3D, elemental special. And so I have a float. I can change it. I can do a range. So I will do 0 to 1. Maybe this one will go 0 to 180, for example, for some reason. Boom. Cutoff, reverb, and let's put some color. Up. I will call it mood. So I have those three variables, and that's good. And maybe I want to have so I can already create preset. So I can say this is my preset angry, for example. So I will have like angry preset, and maybe I will have smooth preset and stoned preset. Boom. So I have my three presets here. I can change my variables from here. I can load, and it will already interpolate to those values. So let's do something like this. This, like this, and like this. Maybe this one I don't like it too much. And if I was already having a full structure functional here, if I change something here, I would expect things to change, like the reverb. So I can adjust the reverb here, say, oh, okay, this actually I prefer this color and reverb parameter. I prefer it for the smooth. So I can update here, and now it's in this, it's updated in this preset. So it's easy because you can basically live control them here and then update whenever you want. You can also like live control whatever here. And purple, for example, we don't have this kind of stuff. And I will just create one and it will create with the current one. So it's also easy to play, add a preset, play, add a preset. That's what we will call Mushi. I don't know, something. So I have my 4 presets here. And what I can do with that, besides animate them like this, is first having control them. So right now I could load one, right? And it would go straight to one. But I can also control them by weight. So basically I want 20% of this one and 80% of this one and 30% of this one and 50% of this one. This is more than 100, but it normalizes it. So like it makes it so everything is 100% here in the weight. And you can get a mix of everything. So I want more angry, and you can see that it will go toward that, but because this one is still like a lot, it will not go too much. Maybe now I want a bit more than like this, more of this, and now I get like, okay, I like this one. Up, I make a new preset. So you can already like kind of play mix. I say alchemist on that. But the most fun way to do that is not playing by hand on that. It's actually very interesting for lights, for example. It's really cool to have like all the faders, and you can actually change. And you don't change one parameter, basically. One fader would be one mood or one, like, you put it exactly like this, the weight of a preset, the importance of a preset. So if you are even in music, you can just think about your parameters as multi-parameters. Like all your faders, all your controls are never changing one parameter. They're changing a lot of parameters at once. And because you can have different groups, you don't need to have like everything controlling everything, like any parameter. You can say, my first four here will control one VST, one effect, one thing. Those ones will control video, and those ones will control another thing in music or in video, independent. So you can really create that. And when you start creating with this kind of paradigm from start, everything becomes, I think, kind of a bit more complex in a way that you have to link everything, like afterwards, but much simpler in terms of what you want to control. Because most of the time you don't want to control only one parameter, or if you are doing that, maybe you would want to do more, but you don't know that you want to do more. Anyway, fun way to do it, the morpher, 2D Voronoi. It's not called morpher, it's called here morpher, but 2D Voronoi because there will be maybe other ways of morphing. Voronoi is one way, which is, so I will just change the color here. I will just match the color on the that it includes. So it's easy to. And Voronoi basically is a mathematical, geometrical way of separating things, where the limit here it defines the distances from the points, basically. So it's a way of like spreading, like creating different different zones from points, which makes sense. And so the fun one fun thing already is that you can create new presets already in here. So if I like this here, for example, like I can just double click, and now I have a new one that is exactly what what happens when I put my target here. So what you can see is the small yellow. I don't know if you see it, but there is a yellow circle here represents the weights. So they all have one, and you can see now that basically the weights here are changing by themselves, and depending on where I'm going, I can actually show the debug so you can see more what's happening. So the yellow and red lines, looks like a spider, are actually how it's calculated. And so this makes it always smooth, and you have no jumps with that, basically. You will never have jumps anywhere of values in this way, and you will always get something that is, and there is, I think, I included safe zone now because, so if you have a safe zone, this is actually a very interesting one. Now, I don't need to be exactly on the point to be fully on this one, for example. So I can put a more safe zone, I think. So now everything here, from here, all around that, I can just move, and I will still be on this one. So it's really nice to, like, I want to transition, but I don't want to be like, to need to be atomically precise to go there. So now they all have a safe zone, and it's really easy to like go somewhere and stay stable on this. Other thing that is fun, attraction, poof, and now you get physical in the good way. I can just do this, and now this is like the amount of attraction for this one, and I can just like put a bit of this one and on this one, and now, so I will just remove that. easier to. Oh no, actually, it's not easier. So what you can see is it's like depending on where. So now wherever I want to put it, it will always try and I think there is like kind of a drawing a bit bug, but the data is actually good. So yeah, it will always go to the thing where like it's attracting depending on the attraction weights here, basically.
Can you give attraction like either a negative value, or is there like a concept of repulsion?
There is no repulsion right now. It's interesting. It could be.
Yeah, because even if it was just attraction at a negative value, you know that it's going to, you take it to that thing, and then you know that over time it's going to repulse it in some way. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know how it would be implemented. It's just an idea that popped into my head, but yeah.
Yeah, that could. I mean, it's half physical. It's kind of a fake physical because the idea between it was behind it was to be able to add an attraction. So let's say I want to go a bit more angry, but not too much. I just do that. I do an injection, and then I can still like move it now, however I want. But I can just like do that, and the attraction will decay by itself because I added some attraction decay. So the idea was I want to inject a bit of mushy, and poof, a bit more mushy, a bit more mushy. So I can just have like some buttons that I can. Yeah, this was made at first. I designed it for a lamp that reacts to how people behave in a room. So if you are like being loud or like doing big motion, it will get scared. But if you stay a bit calm and then like go slowly towards it, and then you can be playful and have like um, the same interaction, but then it will be more playful and more joyful than if you just, like go in the room and already be very active. So like with intimacy layers and stuff like this.
Super awesome.
And this this was a way to do it. So it's like, okay, so if you're doing this, you get it a bit more angry, but if you're more like if you're more neutral or calm or getting aroused or whatever, then you can like play, and it will not go from one to another so fast. It will always be like a slow transition and injections of behaviors.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, we've had some good feedback in the chat as well about those features, saying well, it would be cool to add momentum to it, friction, bouncing or collisions, and attraction based on distance. All super interesting ideas.
Yeah.
Hey, we crashed it.
And this would not be a full.
Yeah, no, you should have stuck on it for a second, because actually one thing I want to congratulate you on, Ben, is how fantastic your crash reporting and crash system is. I actually think Chataigne is probably the best software for handling auto-saving and for handling crashing. I've never experienced software that crashes as graciously as yours does, because all software is going to crash at some point, but your software crashes very graciously. It does so in a way where you can report immediately, you can launch back to where you were, you don't lose work. Usually if you lose work, it's only the last 5 minutes at max. And as someone who is incredibly good at crashing software, I'm very grateful for that.
Wow, thank you so much. Yeah, reporting is so important for me, actually. So if you want just to crash or say hi, you can just like go to preferences. You can check a lot of things here. This is where you can check like beta updates and whatever. And thank you for this amazing feedback, Lucas. And here you have test crash. So whenever you want, you can just crash the system and send me some information. Sometimes I receive that. I just wanted to crash your software. And that's completely okay. Well, so I will say information that anybody puts here, like if you write me an email, if you put your email and you write valuable information on what you were doing, sometimes you can't really understand, like remember exactly what you were doing. That's okay, but as much as you can, especially if you can repeat the crash, if you can like provide information there, most of the time 20 minutes later you have a fix to your problem. Because if I'm on my computer, I will receive a mail. I receive an email instantly whenever somebody crashes in the world. And then I read it. And if there is a comment, I will read it. And if I have time, I will test it. I will try to replicate the crash and fix it already. Because for me, I'm really going towards like zero crash. It's not there yet, for sure, as long as this button is there. But it mainly crashes when it crashes. It mainly crashes when editing. So in performance, it's really, really seldom, and I'm really trying to narrow them to like zero, absolute zero. So yeah, just so you know. And actually, there is no recover, and that I mistake the button that I'm wanting to remove on the last version. So there should be a recover button there that like saves the file as of the time of crash. That may or may not work because when it crashes, it gets into a random state. But yeah, so I don't know. I did something because on Mac it was problematic. But okay, now it's. I will change it again. Anyway, some questions. I think.
Yeah, we've got one coming in at the moment. I think he's talking about the Parrot. Mau asks, can we please touch on the performance recording and replay feature? I'm not sure exactly what he means by that, but I think he means the Parrot.
Yeah, the Parrot. Parrot will. Let's say I have. But I don't know for you. I can say after 10 p.m. But I will try to have it at least the official part before. But
that's
Parrot,
okay. I'm
yeah,
okay
it's
to
part of
go
it.
over for a bit if we need to.
So yeah, good. So two things, two more panels that can be interesting. Detective, I will put it. Yeah, here is good. So I will go first to the detective actually, and then Parrot, because I think it's detective interesting. Let's say you have some values that come from another software, or you are not sure about like controllers that you got, and you want to see the values and like how good they are. Detective, you want to go through the detective because this is what a detective does. It goes through the looking glass. And looking glass would have been a good one. No, detective is good. CC70 here is my controller. It seems to work good, but okay, maybe, I don't know, it's acting weird. Right click, any parameter. Right click. Watch with the detective. Boom. It creates this one that I can delete whenever I want. And now I can just like move that. I can change my time window to see more, or like more. It's a basic one for sure. Like if you're a touch designer, for sure you will see more. But it's still very nice to see if you have like glitches or unwanted things happening. You know, sometimes you have like parameters that will move by themselves, or do like one value at some point, and it would be too fast to see. So with that, you can actually like see really good if you have like any value that happens will be showing there. So if you have some like spike somewhere or glitches, you would see it there. Yeah, very efficient for that, and you can see also like the rate which it records. So it's not trying to make the curve look good, as a lot of software are doing. This is trying to show exactly when values are updated. So whenever there is a like line like this, when it seems like super aliased and square, it means that values have not been updated during that time. So this is also, if I move it really fast, this is what I get. I don't get the full, all the 127 things during this, actually. Like those are the steps I miss from the 127, basically, because I'm going too fast, and the the keyboard is not sending me those values. So this is a detective. Really good to check things like this. You can check multiple at once, as obviously. Poof, and now I have 2 here. Actually, this is the one I wanted to do. So there may be something where my computer is, like, this surface is not really able to keep up too much right now. I hope it will be good for the rest. You can also check, just so you see, if I do colors like this, you can, like, let's do this red. I will do that on 6-second looping, and this color I want to watch with detective. And now if this 6 seconds. So okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure it does show up in the detective there.
Interesting. It should. I changed it recently. Huh.
Probably just a small bug.
Yes. I should test that before training. It should show all the, but for some reason, yes, it's not. So this should work, and it will not. All the time, workshops are good to see what's not working in this software. I don't mean that I don't pretend like to have everything fixed already. It's very much ongoing, and I have a shit ton of things to do on this. Okay, Parrot, because Mama wanted that. Parrot, so same. I'm not saying, but like same context of things that you want to do that you maybe have a hard time doing on other software. So I'm playing with stuff right now, or maybe I'm recording someone working in a room, and I'm tracking his motion, and I can't have that all the time. So I know that I'm making a sequence, for example, with those one, like this, and I won't have my keyboard when I'm on the train, for example, but I would still want to have some data to be able to replay easily to be able to work on. So I can just have my Parrot here, and I think I can do this now. Yeah, boom. I put my values on it. So now I have my 2 values here. They are here, and I can just start a record. Boom. I will play a bit. Shoop, 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 and I will stop. And now this Parrot I can play back. You can see that they are like taken by the Parrot and changing by themselves. I can actually loop that. Play. Play, play, play. And now they are playing again just by themselves. So this is really good to get your hands off, to do. Yeah, you can basically record things. So for me, I often use it when I'm needing other people to do things, and then I have to work on interactions that comes out of that. But either I don't have the controller, but it would be like a lot of a loss of time, like of time to actually already go somewhere, do something, go back to the computer or whatever. So this easy, and you could do a sequence and simulate a mapping, or do a signal generator here and have something like this, or even like with a noise, and it would kind of work. But the problem with that is it's not the actual values. So you would have to create a special mapping and a special thing just to test the actual input. What's good with this one is that here, if I'm doing a mapping for this, it will already work. Like as soon as I stop the Parrot and I plug by my keyboard, I can again play with it without any conversion or whatever. Like it doesn't bring more than just recording. So this is the Parrot. It may not be interesting for everybody, as everything in the software, but this is it can be very, very useful and save a lot of time when the situation arises.
Amazing. So I think super quickly, because I know we can cover it super quickly, but one other module that I use quite a lot, especially once a template gets complex, is the outliner. Can you just super quickly explain
Obviously,
how the
yes.
outliner works for us?
Yeah, that's obviously with pleasure. Outliner shows the whole structure of the software. There is everything, anything that you can control, anything that is a parameter. You can just see it here, right? So this is actually a really good transition. Let me transition to HTML.
Fantastic.
No. Okay. One thing before, but yes, after that I will try a really smooth transition. So let's say I have a mapping like this, right? So you can see that as a curve with points, but these are all items and parameters. This key here, for example, this key here has a parameter of value and time. So if I get it somewhere, I can actually, not here, automation, I have my keys. See, I can select my keys even from here because outliner shows everything. And my key one, if I go in it, I have my value here. And my value, I can change it like this. Small, too much optimized drawing. But basically, this is the value of this key. What I can do is take this mapping, because the whole software is based on, again, one concept of everything. So I can go to that value. I will just remap it from 0, 0 and 1. That we already know this kind of stuff. Boom, boom, boom. And mapping output, I set generic set parameter value. Basically, what I get here is the same structure as this one. So I can go in sequence, layers, mapping, automation, key one, value. And now what I'm changing here is the value of this key in this mapping layer. So this is kind of how far you can go on what you want to change in the software. And actually you can go even further by, I can change that and I can change like, let's do this one. What is that? Is a parrot again somewhere? Oh no, this is a signal value. Boom, remap between 0 and 40. What did I do? Okay. Oh yeah, this is touch the screen. And that I want to generic set parameter value. And I can go to state. So this is my state and view UI position. And now I can change the position of my state because it's also a parameter. Why not?
Wow.
So totally useless again, but it doesn't matter. It's not about like removing all the unnecessary control. It's about having only one principle that can apply everywhere. And then it's easy to think about because as a user, you choose the complexity that you want to have. You are not forced to have a special level of complexity in that. Like everything is accessible. You have to think about what you want to do with it. So yeah, that's kind of, for me, that's also like how the outliner is interesting. You can easily choose, this is what you were thinking about. Let's say I have like 100 mappings and this one is called, I don't know, activate reverb. And inside, I would have my input value here that I can't change this input value. Interesting. I swear I should be able to. Input value here. Oh no, I can't. It's interesting. But let me try another one. Or maybe here actually. No, that is good. Change key. Change value key. I will just write it like this. You understand why. So change value key. This is my output in my fader to value key, because it doesn't make sense. So fader to value key. Boom, 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 boom. Change value key, and this is where I can change this value key, right? But I would have maybe I have a lot of states, a lot of things I don't remember where is what. I can just go here and go like value key. And then I have my processor that is called fader to value key, and my output is called change to value key. Oh, okay, this is where I want it. I just have to select it basically. And if I have a lot of states as well, oh, now you can actually move inside that. Like a lot of people don't know that, like all users of Chataigne don't know that because it was not the case always, but now you can like move here and it makes it very easy. You can also change state of like color of a state if you want that, and you also see it here now. So easy, super easy as well to add some stuff to see. And there is a states panel. Where is it? State. Boom. Here. And if I had a lot of states, boom, 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 and this one is here. So now I can see that, okay, this is here and this is in my state. So this one gets selected and I can just poof, do this and it will focus to this one. So having the state as a list view as well, not just a 2D view, can be really powerful if you have a lot of states, because you can super easily just go through the different one like this. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, so state panel, outliner, and outliner, there is one other thing that you can see in it, and I will go to HTML for that. Is it okay? Is it good for you?
Yeah,
Lucas?
yeah, perfect.
Yeah. So I can see here the outliner. So you can see that. So this is HTML. You can see very similar interface, different panels for some. So I have like some internal mapping, so I don't need to Chataigne for everything, for example. And I have my outline, and I have so small eyes here. And for example, I have Parrot. So a lot of things are common to all the software I do. Parrots, same. Detective, same. Warning, help, logger, dashboard, outliner, in inspector. All those ones are common to all the software, which is very handy because once you know how to work a software, it becomes super easy to work another one. You don't need to understand so many more things. The way of working on it, the way to control things, it comes from my mind, so obviously it's quite similar. What is good with the outliner as well is, for what I call organic UI, the base framework, is that I can choose what I make available for control from outside, because all the software are controllable from outside. And I will show you how. So for example, I don't want a dashboard project setting, and okay, let's say now it's good like this. So I only want that to be that, and I don't want people messing with my project settings, for example. So I will just do this, and I go in my preferences, and I have activated the OSC remote control on port 44,000. I go into Chataigne, and I will do it once like this. So I have a new setup, and I want to control from Chataigne HTML. So I could like access with OSC control and stuff. You see that if I go on hover on any element, there is this tooltip and saying like /node/clarinet loop /enable, which is a OSC control address, a valid one that you can send on this port. But you can also go in OSCQuery, which is an evolved version of OSC that automates the exposition of values. So now I actually have automatically detected LGML here. So LGML, if I click on it, it will automatically set it up. It sees the name of the file. And already all the things that are activated here, the blue ones, not the gray one, they are already here and exposed the way I want. So if now I want to play, for example, I just have to go or change the volume of my audio in. I can just go here and change this here, and it will change it from here. So, and it's if I do listen here, now it's both ways. So this makes controlling all the software so much simpler, like crazy simple to do. And this is where it can get really fast to put to make any setup. I'm not talking about like actually, music research or whatever, like this takes time. But then you have more time for that actually, because you are not spending so much time. Oh, I need to put like all the OSC messages, or like I don't know how to connect all the things. It's like I'm using one software, I'm using another software, and basically it's like 2 clicks to get the whole structure laid out. So with that,
Ben, before you go too far, so a couple of people had joined a bit later. They didn't hear you explain what LGML is. Could you give just a quick 2-minute rundown of what LGML is for those people?
Yeah. I was about to do that.
Fantastic.
I will just do this. Okay. So LGML is my attempt to make yet another DAW that would be an alternative to live, Ableton Live or Bitwig for live performance, not for composition and music production, because that is a full other way of working. I'm a live musician, and I'm mainly focused on interactivity and live music. I want to loop. I want to be able to play 100 instruments by myself, and the people I've been working with on that also interested in that. So Ezra from Organic Orchestra, check him out. He's really good. We've been building that first for his company, for him and his company, and then I took over. Like a few years later, I started again a fully open source project based on that, on the same concept, but like with the new interface and stuff. So this is it. It's already available. It's in heavy development, so a lot of things may not work or may not be perfect, but it's already used in production in some ways. And yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with it. It runs on Windows, Linux, Mac, Raspberry Pi, and whatever. And it benefits from the same core concept and control system than Chataigne. So you get the same kind of interface. You get all the things here. So there is no actions or mapping or sequences, but this is where like Chataigne is good for, and this is like this software then can really concentrate on like doing audio. It's node based, as you can see. So basically, you have nodes, and you can connect them to each other. You can create containers. You can host VSTs, and there are like some fun, more like this is a sampler that can also repitch. So it gets really easy to like sing a note in it and then replay it. So create your own instrument really easy with some basic ADSR in it. And there is a specializer that I think I broke just before doing this demo, but basically you have like this kind of stuff that's like this.
Could you move the camera bit over just a little bit, just so we can see it?
Sorry.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, I will do this like this. Up. So I think you can see here the source has a super random color that is not good, but anyway. So you can see that like it can specialize, and it is supposed to be able to specialize way more, but I think that I have had a problem with that recently. So I don't know. This is the radius is not working. So But anyway, so this is like spatializer. I don't know, maybe it's because of this. Ah,
Well, to be clear,
yeah, that
you've
happens.
just released the first stable for LGML, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't use
So
a
this is
spatializer on this one.
this is still quite
Um,
early, so you know a couple of crashes
oh
to
yeah.
bugs
This is very
is
new. Like
expected.
yeah. I'm modifying it a lot, and same. Most of the crashes happen, if not all, happen during editing, not performance, which is
Yeah.
probably the most important part. Yeah, I mean, there is still a long way to go. For people who are interested, I find it really nice, and I also make very, very important that my software, all the software suite, they all run, they all start and like are fully functional, depending on the file load, but within like 3 to 5 seconds. The software alone, it starts and launches in less than half a second all the time,
Amazing.
and that I really want to keep it anyway. Like whether it crashes or not, I want that really fast, and it makes it also like when you are on Raspberry Pi, or you know that it will still be fast. So yeah, basically it's always bringing it down to the core of only what you need, not anything else. So here I want 2 loopers, 2 effects, and an audio out, and I don't have a whole chain with returns and whatever doing things. If I want that, I can have that, but right now I just want that, so I want this. Yeah. And you hear sound?
Yep.
Perfect. So I will explain a bit this setup. Oh shit, this is another bug. Okay. I will put that here, and I will put Chataigne here. So maybe, I don't know, maybe I do the demo. And then I explain how I do that.
Sure.
Let's try like this. So it's better. And what do I have? I have my MIDI. I have my launchpad here that I am actually not really using, but it's showing the different. And this would have not fucked up the sound actually. The different three instruments that I have. I really did that really quite fast, but I can change here things. I have another setup where like all of that is used for the looper, but I won't showcase it now. And I have the same. I just wanted to show the loop deck here because it's kind of a nice device. These are screens and touch screens here and buttons. And basically, I did the same that I have here. So when sorry. Those are buttons. I just change the color, and basically those are my string instruments. So when changing that, it's going through Vital here and changing the presets. It's loading different presets on Vital. So I have like the bass, the drum, and the leads on that quite easily, and I can change as much as I want. And then I only need basically one instrument to do them all. I don't need like to load them all at once because it's the same instruments, just different presets. And then I have different stuff. So these are my drum preset here for Vital control. These are my preset for loop deck that is actually changing the Vital control as well. And then I have the lip motion stuff that is interesting. So lip motion, I have changed. So let's say I have my filter here with cutoff and Q. I exposed, so those are the parameters of my VST. It's a kilohertz one. And so I have cutoff and Q here that I exposed. So now they become available for Chataigne to control. And those are here. And basically what they say, what are they saying is like they are, maybe I show the lip motion just before for those who don't know what is it, because it's really fun. Let me just open that. If it opens, does it opens? Does it open? Yes. Now, yeah. So this is it. It's kind of jaggery. This is why it was not good before. It's not the best demo. It's supposed to be super snappy, and it is. I can like, really, yeah, really awesome device that can like detect exactly, even like this, like can detect whatever is happening. Yeah. So this is what you get with this device, and I'm now like starting a collaboration with them. They are building new devices and improving even more the hand tracking, so it's really interesting. And a friend of mine did made a device module, custom module. So these are all the values that you get: direction, orientation, palm position, and this grab strength and angle here that are really nice to do things like this, you know, like take the sound in your hands, and pitch strength just like this one, boop, boop, boop. And all the sums, you know, so I get, this is in my right hand, this is how I get like middle extended, or second, ring, pinky. So I can just do this. This was cool in the demo if you heard. Anyway, and here I have the lip motion cutoff here will be basically the grab angle. So this is my grasp on my left hand. And I created a condition. So you can actually have condition in mappings, but it's not to trigger things. It's to temporarily disable the mapping in certain conditions. So basically, we only run if the conditions are met, and it avoids create an action that will disable and enable the mapping, basically. So it's kind of really efficient for that. What I want for me is, I don't want, because you know, like it's already even here, like the sensor, I don't know if you see, it's really far away and very like, and it's still able to still get the hands here, but I don't want that. So I put some conditions that check that the Z position is enough, is like actually really in front of it. So if I'm here, I'm not controlling, even though it works, because I don't want that. Like if I'm talking here, yeah, here I'm talking, and it will trigger some stuff eventually, but you know, so basically this here, and when I'm on it, it remaps with some smoothings, because I never wanted it to jump the cutoff, and that is sent to this. So you can see here changing. Q is the same with orientation of the hands. So you can see that I'm taking the Y, that is this one, and I'm remapping it. So basically I want flat to be 0 and this to be 1. So this allows, I don't know, I think it does not, yeah, this one does not, yeah, now it works. So you can see how I can just like change and have all the things different from there. And then what do I have more? I have the delay here that is on here, and same, I'm not checking too bad, too low and too high. So because I want this range to be quite sensitive, and this will increase the reverb, basically. And I have two more here that are actually really fun. Is when I go off, it will stop the music, and when I go back, it will play it. So this is the one. It will like trigger, not trigger, trigger, not trigger. And same, I've made here an action that's safe, that puts this one to safe. So when I'm here, it's actually disabling it. So then I can go here, do this, and then go back. And even if I'm here, it won't play anymore. I have to like, boom, go from here. So so those are like, with my left hand, basically I can control thing like this and play, like go up and play, go up and stop. So I can like do this drop just with this hand. And another concept here, it is the multiplex. And multiplex, how it works is, I have 5 fingers, right? And we've seen how that works in the module thumb, index, middle, ring, and pinky. And instead of creating 5 mappings to control each of actives here, you can see, shoop, 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 shoop. This one is kind of hard to get. Shoop. So instead of creating 5 mappings, because let's say I want 10 or 20, I don't want to create that. And if I want to change one thing in it, I don't want to change that as well. Okay. Yeah, no worries. So I have my 5 fingers, and I don't want to create duplicate a mapping for 5 times, because I will have a filter that is exactly the same and everything. So I create a multiplex. Multiplex are made for that, and they are basically lists that you can do parallel processing with. So in one multiplex here, I have a count of 5, my fingers, and I have 2 lists. One is the extended parameter, that is if my finger is like this from the deep motion module. And on the other side, I have a list of what I want to control, which is the active parameter of the tracks of my looper. So what I do now is a classic mapping, but instead of taking a value, I take a list. So it will process in parallel all the inputs at the same time, independently. It's just that I have one mapping to do them all, and it's actually it's not exactly 5 mappings, but it's as if there were 5 mappings in parallel. My condition, same. I want the hands to be close enough, and then it actually just sets the thing active. But then with only one mapping, I can do that. And if I wanted my other hand to do other things on my fingers or anywhere else, I could just use the same one and just like add 5 more items. So sometimes it becomes really easier, especially if you have, if I wanted to do some more things, more complex here in a mapping, I would do it only once and it would apply to all the inputs and outputs. So this is really like multiplex are a really good way to kind of the same as a for loop in programming, like to bulk change things, modify things. And you could do the same in action. You can use actions as well in multiplex you can multiplex actions basically. So yeah, this is how I get then the boom, 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 boom. And then for the LGML specifics, basically the audio looper has a lot of things that maybe it's a bit late to go over that, but yeah, basically inputs, I have vital as a VST that is awesome. And I have my looper here, and this looper has a lot of things. Basically, it can loop in many ways. The default way that I use is the first loop length, meaning that whatever I put as a first loop, the one that sets the tempo at first, the number of bits used for that loop will be stored. So I can say my base unit for computing things is, for like calculating and quantizing, is my first loop. Because most of the time, like for example, there, for the BPM, not to get crazy, there is this automatic calculation, same as in live, where it was split into bars. The thing so the BPM is actually quite okay, but then my first loop take 2 bars, and this is my this is the core of what I want to record. So then whenever I hit record, because if it's set here, it will take this as it will not quantize to a bar or whatever. It will quantize to that. So I know that when I hear the melody, I don't care about like what bar we are. I just can say, okay, next time this first loop is ending, this is where you will start recording or retro record or whatever. So there are a lot of things that are like temp mute, so you can like just temporarily mute something and have it automatically go back again after some time. Same like quantization, it's next bar, next beat, next first loop. So this looper can do quantization. You can do free, as in like RC505, where whenever you click, you don't care about like where you are, but then you can say to the beat, to the bar, to the first loop, or you can say yeah, in freeze you have fill mode where you can like actually still quantize, but you don't care where where is the loop point, but you can also go direct, and basically it creates like really completely free loops with any quantization, any length. It will not loop perfectly. And then there are like things where you can like have say, okay, actually when I hit twice, it will automatically record 2 bars and then stop recording. So it's also, or 1 bar or whatever. So it's also an easy way that before recording something, I can just like prepare that like boom boom, and then I can just play most of the time, because I play with instruments. I'm not like a beatboxer, or my hands are not free most of the time, and it's always a gymnastics to do that. So yeah, I'm trying to find ways so that I can completely play without thinking about of this. So recording ahead, uh, this is like, yeah, these are the tools that I have. And recently I did the retro rec mode that allows me, as a Lucas, you told me
Yep,
I
yep.
should implement, and you were totally right. I'm still like getting used to it. It's not so easy, but I was using it right now, and basically, for those who don't know about that, it's just awesome. And it took me 2 hours to do. I should have done that like 6 months ago. But anyway,
It's one of those things,
um,
though. If you haven't come across the paradigm before, it seems like the silliest, stupidest thing, and then the moment you start playing with it, you're like, "Oh my god, no! This is this is
oh,
the
don't
stuff."
get don't get me wrong. As the moment you told me about that, I was like, whoa, recording the past. How futuristic is that? But still, like, um, yeah. So, and in the same, you can basically record only 1 bar or an amount of bars that you want, or beat, or first, or an amount of first loop. So you, again, I count in units of first loop, which I find it really handy for most of the things that I do. But I can also change that whenever I want. And then I have 3 counts for rec, double rec, and triple rec. So same, if I retro rec twice, it will now take back the twice the first loop length, or 2 bars or whatever. But and so I can go up to 4. So even with a retro rec, I can still like, with one button, I can still have at least 3 units of recording, of retro recording by playing. And for me, this is like, I feel that it is enough with this button, because I don't want to play it to push it 6 times. 3 is already good. But for me, it's good to have that. So like double click, for example, is really nice when you see, oh, okay, I can actually
Sorry, say again there, Ben. You cut out for a little bit. Just the
okay,
last second or
yeah,
so, last few seconds.
yeah. Basically, for me, the like having different timings available for retro rec, for retrospective recording is really nice. So yeah, I don't know if everybody knows, but basically the idea is that you don't need to prepare recording as you would do in like classic live. Like, okay, next time I start recording, and then you have to play perfectly, and then you have to stop the recording. Retrospective, as Vegas introduced it to me, is that basically you play whenever you want, and then you just hit once to say, oh, I want to keep that. Um, so yeah, this is just like so simple and so great, and yeah, it works quite good, and I really hope to have more time to play with it and improve it as well. So yeah, that's mainly it. You can save samples and stuff, and there are like some basic mappings here, so that allow me to like toggle the tracks here. So here I have this. I have my toggles that are already inside the inside LGML, because my whole keyboard here is not controlled in Chataigne. It's a purely how to say, um
Purely LGML.
yeah, I mean, this is where, like Kathleen was asking, for me, like this is, I don't need to put that in Chataigne. It would just be dumb information transfer. So, but at the first, like as soon as I would need this button to do two different things, I would put that into Chataigne.
Yeah. If you
Right now
just
it's
need
not.
it to do to control the looper, you might as well do it directly in LGML. If you want to do it, you want it to control the looper sometimes, but control the visuals other times, then it makes sense to do it in Chataigne.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I still have like those two buttons allow me to like pom 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 pom, but still I have those ones to control the toggle. So this is already something that I find nice. You can still with those mappings very easy, but you can still control the same parameter from different things in different ways. So you could have one that is in a certain range and or like toggle style like this, and other ones that are in tap style. So yeah, this and then presets. So right now I only have one, but I could easily say, okay, those ones I want this like this up. Yeah. So now I can easily like have this, but I could also maybe do this. I will say that they are presetable. And
Okay, so the
now,
presets cover the entire LGML state, basically the entirety of the looper at that moment can be referenced in the preset.
yeah,
Cool. And Mao Mao asks, can you capture presets on the fly? I'm guessing if it's scriptable, if it's got an OSC address, then the answer to that would be yes, or potentially could be.
can you can
So,
you repeat
can
that?
you
Sorry.
capture presets instantly? Like so while you're playing, you go, okay, this is because I see what you're doing right now is there's it's maybe a little bit more fiddly than you intended it to be. There might be just a usability
Uh,
thing, but
yeah, no, that's the first setup. But yet, actually, you can like let's say I have my preset here, and I can so I have first to say what I want in this preset, but I can just add all presetable uh, up. So now it's like everything that has been in presets is here, but this is a very complex system that I can go really far because you can have presets in presets that will like call their parent values.
sorry, could
And
you
you
say
can like,
that? I'm so sorry, Ben, but yeah, it's
yeah,
just
no,
cutting
no
out a
worries,
couple
no
of
worries.
times. So could you say that just one more time?
So this is where like, uh, this is a very, it can get very, very complex. You can get one level, but you can also get like multi-level presets. So this one now is a child of this one. So whatever I put there,
Presets in the
yeah,
presets.
in the presets. But you can actually like really go far um, on how you want, how you can do things, because basically there is like this full override system and linking preset system, and you can also have transitions. So you can basically say, I want this to transition in 1 second, much like the preset in custom variables, except those ones. So if I do this, actually, add all presets up. So those ones, they are you can quantize them. So I can say this one, I want to. So now if I like I'm playing, this is a very how this is not okay. Okay, I will just go to do that. Okay, there was some weird stuff for sure. So is it voice meter doing that? No, no, it's yeah, okay. So here I have my preset, and I can say this one, you will finish interpolating when the bar finishes. So basically, if I do this, it will finish at the same time as it hits a new bar. Whenever I do it, if I do it super late, like third time, boom, it will go fast. Now, if I do it at first, it will go all the way and wait for it to go there. And then I can say, for example, the actives here, I actually want those ones to, I want this one to change at start, but those two ones to change at end, for example, and this one at start. So what happens is now I'm like this, and you see that some of the mutes here are changing when I hit the button, and the other one in the end. And so I can actually change, and I can do that for also values like this, change at end. So basically I can do this, and then I know that next bar, boom, all those values will have changed exactly what I want. So I can animate, and I can change at start and at end for any parameter, for any presets at any time. And I can say also one more bar. So basically if I'm here, and now I do that, I do this, it will wait for this bar, and then now change. So it's like one bar plus the extra time that be between when I clicked and the end of bar. So this makes it very easy to prepare for drops or build-ups or things like this, because basically you can like automate a lot of things. Just saying I will be doing this, like you just do that. There will be a new system called the grid inside that can like basically create way more complex automations based on.
So could you say again about what the you said there will be a new system, but we didn't hear anything after that. So there will be a new system.
Called the grid, and it's basically, it will be a grid system, like a block system, that will allow to do way more complex animations of parameters, to do exactly that. Like you open this for one bit, and then you do you animate this for 2 bars, and this will go like this and that. And like basically I want to create this kind of stuff where you can just trigger different patterns of animations for any parameter in the software. So you can really easily then prepare a lot of things, and it becomes your instrument as well, because you can trigger them as much as you want. It's not like you don't enter in a state, you just animate parameters in a very musical way automatically. So this will be happening at some point. Yeah.
Wow, well, Ben, that has me super excited to get in and get testing LGML. Sounds like Mau is very interested to go in and test it as well. He's been leaving a lot of comments, so I'm sure he'll be getting in as well. So we're a little bit over time, which is fine by me. But I'm thinking now is starting to get a good time to start like wrapping it up. Maybe I'm leaving 5 minutes, 10 minutes if there are any like open questions. If anyone's got any open questions for Ben before we like wrap up and finish things. But otherwise, Ben, it's been such a pleasure hosting this workshop with you and finding out so much. It's been absolute knowledge bomb. But yeah, I'm going to open the floor. If anyone does have any questions for Ben before we close out, you can write it in the text or unmute and push to talk. Yeah, I'll just hold the space for that for a second.
Yeah, thank you everybody. I hope it was not too painful with all the thing. I will get better in streaming at some point, just not today.
Yeah, it's one of those things, isn't it? It's we did do our sound checks and tests, but whatever the issues were, wherever they came from, they showed up a bit later. Audio gremlins.
Yeah.
But
I'm pretty sure I've one that I know where it comes from. Yeah.
But yeah, and I'm assuming from no one unmuting that everyone's happy, that they've all got a lot of knowledge to absorb. Mau, you have one. Okay, go ahead.
Obviously.
Where can we follow Ben? That's a great question
That's
to
a
ask.
great
Where can we
question.
follow you to
To
hear
his
your
music.
music, to hear more about your projects, all of that? Where can we find you, Ben?
Yeah, Melting Brains, it is my stuff. Thank you. Wow. Okay, thank you. This is not exactly the music I'm going to play in my life. I mean, I like this kind of stuff, but I'm looking for a lot of different things. Right now in music, nowhere, because I'm totally discovering the whole uh, thing. I'm discovering my own software. I mean, the people using my software right now, like Ezra, is way better at using my own software than me. Um, so hopefully, I can actually do. At some point, I will be on Twitch, and I will show it. I will advertise it on the Chataigne Discord, and maybe here. Why not? This is oh yeah, and you can always give me some money and some sponsorship, and then I can work on a bit more on all of those projects. Um, yeah, no, music, I'm really looking forward to it, and the project, the whole project is actually the audience can interact with what I'm doing, so they can like input comments on the Twitch chat, and it would change also the whole thing. I guess now from everything that you've seen, you imagine how it can be not so hard to make. Um, and but there is also a live version, and I'm really focusing on the live version right now, where the actual audience physically can interact, and I'm building things the same as my clarinet, but just for people to interact and like can change the loops and change the filters and stuff like that from the audience. So yeah, hopefully, I don't know, maybe this summer I will have something or whatever. As soon as I have something, it will be somewhere on Discord here on mine. But thank you. It's a really warm feeling to know that even with the shitty situation, you still want to follow my music.
Well, yeah, as Mama says, this is very, very inspiring. Thank you so much, Ben. It's been an absolute pleasure. And I've got this recorded, and I know you recorded some of it as well. So we'll get together afterwards to put those two things together and
Yeah.
put it out there, because there's a wealth of knowledge in this like, wow, 3 hours and 40-minute workshop.
Yeah, yet another video that would be super hard to go through all, but
Yeah, well, I don't mind doing some work, editing it, cutting it down, making it YouTube friendly or
oh,
whatever. I'd be happy to do that. But yeah,
amazing.
guys, thank you everyone for coming along. Thank you everyone who came from the Chataigne server as well to take part in today's workshop. And again, thank you so much, Ben. Learned so much, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of us going in and testing LGML, diving deeper into Chataigne. Really excited as well to see the dashboard 2.0 when that hits. Especially hearing that you're working with the open stage control people. And potentially there's some collaboration there. That gets me very, very excited, because I'm a big fan of both Chataigne and open stage control. I can see like a good knowledge share happening there. But yeah, I'm gonna close this out here. Just finishing recording now. Thank you everyone, and thank you, Ben. Absolute diamond.
Thank you.